All right, we're live. World of Wills, BJCC. It is the next round. He is Jim Dunaway. He is Lance Taylor. I am Ryan Brown. Taylor Corn is here. Rockstar is on the road. He might join us. He just texted me and said late for sound check, though. They started late, so who knows?
That's exciting that Rockstar may join us. We had listeners and viewers who sent us pictures from last night's show in Pensacola, but of course it's the long drive from Pensacola to Charleston overnight, and then they're setting up for a different show tonight. It's the Pearl Jam one, not Rumors, right?
Yeah, Pearl Jam and Nirvana.
Yeah,
they're doing that one in not Johnson City, Pensacola. What was between the two?
Charleston,
and
then Johnson City tomorrow night. Back with Rumors the rest of the way. But we're ready to go down here at the World of Wills, and as we get going, and we'll retweet and everything from the O'Reilly Auto Parts World of Wills, and we got special guests, big Thompson Square concert coming up here early in the evening. Right when we're done, we're here for a couple of hours, but Brownie LT, as we get going. Before we get to all the beautiful cars and everything you can do here all week, we have developing news and a story we talked about all day long, Brownie. Tommy Rees is now the new offensive coordinator in Tuscaloosa, reported by several folks, and fascinated by the way this is being played on both ends of the camp. Obviously, Alabama's in, the opportunity to come at 30 years old and coach the blue chippers and all that. We'll talk more about Alabama in a second, but the people who cover Notre Dame.
I'm reading that one right there. That's crazy.
Pete Sampson, who covers Notre Dame for The Athletic, done Tommy Rees to Alabama. As I wrote earlier today, Brown, see if you can tell which team he covers. This is a massive opportunity for Marcus Freeman to go big at offensive coordinator, and it's one Notre Dame's head coach has been preparing for. As if Marcus Freeman was ready to Pete Golding Tommy Rees out the door.
Wow, so Pete Golding left Alabama because Nick Saban wanted him to leave Alabama, and now Tommy Rees left Notre Dame because Marcus Freeman wanted him to leave Notre Dame. That's the way that's going to play, huh?
That's the way that was written there to me. That's the way I played that.
Well, I mean, you think about it. Tommy Rees has been with the program a while. Marcus Freeman comes in for a year, and he's the head coach. These guys are relatively the same age. You could see a little animosity maybe, and they just were never on the same page. With that said, I want to remind Pete Sampson, I don't know who the dude is, that
long time reporter.
Hey, he's done it for a while. He's been on our show before. Okay. Pete Sampson has,
go big at offensive coordinator. Do you think any offensive coordinator would choose Notre Dame over Alabama?
No,
honestly,
no, not at this point in history.
Right now,
no, not since the 1970s when this beautiful BJCC was built back in the day.
And I've had a couple of days now to process Tommy Rees. I thought he was a solid quarterback. I thought he was a solid play caller. Again, 2 years ago or 3 years ago, whenever Notre Dame was in a college football playoff with Ian Book at quarterback, that was a top 10 passing offense. Tommy Rees is young. Guy can recruit. I think it's a good hire.
I'm excited about it because I like to go young sometimes, right? I like a younger, hungry staff.
Right.
I go back to Pat Dye's days early at Auburn. That was one of the youngest staffs in college football, how hungry that staff was. When Nick Saban first started hiring coaches in Tuscaloosa, oftentimes he goes young, hungry recruiters, and Tommy Rees falls into that category. One more note on the Notre Dame side. If you're going to go big at offensive coordinator, who's out there that's going to leave their job that would be quote-unquote big to go to Notre Dame?
I really don't know because, we were trying to figure out what direction Nick Saban was going to go here.
Right.
And, again, this is much like, to me, the Lane Kiffin hire as far as this one came out of left field. It was a name that we really didn't discuss over the last couple of weeks up until the last 48 hours. But I don't know. I mean, if you could go out and hire any offensive coordinator, I don't know who you get right now.
I mean, if I were Notre Dame and had a blank check, and I've got the name Notre Dame behind me, and that still meant something. Like if I were the top job in the country, and you said, all right, who do you want as offensive coordinator? I really don't even know how I would answer that question. I would have probably said Garrett Riley.
Oh, yeah, that would have been the guy early on.
But, he's at Clemson. I'm not going to steal him from Clemson, obviously. So beyond that, I don't know. I would not have said – honestly, I would not have said Tommy Rees. And it's an interesting hire to me, again. But, I will say – I don't know what you guys would say. I don't know if you say he's been playing with C talent or B talent in comparison to the rest of the country or the top end of college football.
Well, let's go B+, A-.
That's what he's been playing with.
I know it's not A+.
It is not. That's what you're going to get at Alabama, Ohio State, Georgia, places like that. So I will be interested to see him dealing from that deck, right? Maybe it makes him better. I don't know.
I think he's got B players and he's going to A+.
So I think that's fair. I think
Yeah.
B player is A+. I mean, he's going to be calling plays. Now, this is two-sided. He's going to be calling plays for the best roster he's ever called plays for.
And that's all you can ask for.
It is, but there's a but to that sentence. He's also going to be going against the best defensive coordinators he's ever faced.
And the best defensive talent.
And the best defensive talent. So, that always is a double-edged sword. Doing it week in, week out in the SEC is a lot harder than doing it week in, week out at Notre Dame.
Look, I think we all know by this point that Nick Saban knows what he's doing. And if he feels like Tommy Rees is going to be a successful offensive coordinator, I think you got to roll with it. Even if you didn't like Bill O'Brien and how stale and uncreative the play calling was at times, it still equated to 40-plus points in back-to-back years.
Yeah. We are at the World of Wills. It is at the BJCC all weekend long, the O'Reilly Auto Parts World of Wills. It's number 52 for O'Reilly Auto Parts and the World of Wills, folks. They are great people. They do a great job here. Cars, you can see some of them behind us, cars as far as the eye can see, all weekend long. Worldofwills.net, worldofwills.net for information on tickets. We're going to be with you for a couple of hours here. Do a lot of things. Number one, hit us up in the chat room. Let us know what you think about Tommy Rees, among other things there in the old chat room. Number two, make sure you give us a thumbs up on YouTube. Let us know you like us on YouTube or Facebook or Twitter, wherever you're watching us. Share us and retweet us on the social media sites. And if you are on YouTube, make sure you have subscribed to our channel and set your alerts so you know when we're live. Shows like this, you'll get an alert that you know when we're live. Here's an interesting one, and I wonder how this name fills for Notre Dame fans very quickly. NH3425 says Charlie Weiss Jr. to Notre Dame as offensive coordinator.
Isn't he just now been hired at Ole Miss?
Not just now. He came with Kiffin from Florida Atlantic. So as long as Kiffin's
wonder how the divorce with Charlie Weiss will affect that.
Yeah, that's why I said I wonder how they feel about that name. Not necessarily his ability, but just the Charlie Weiss name. Is that like one day
he's younger than Tommy Rees?
One day, Lance, if Mike Shula Jr. was an offensive coordinator, Alabama fans would probably say, boy, I don't know.
Oh, if Bill O'Brien had a kid, there's no chance they'd let him come close to Tuscaloosa.
No, Bill O'Brien Jr.
Yeah, he was with Charlie with Lane Kiffin at Florida Atlantic. Then he was at South Florida in 20 and 21 and came to replace.
My apologies.
Came in this year.
I thought he came with Lane. So he was at South Florida with Jeff Scott.
Yeah, he came in to replace Levy when Levy left.
That's right.
So
That's
he
right.
did have last year.
That's right. That's on me, Jim.
In Ole Miss, but he is a guy that Lane Kiffin's been familiar with at two different stops, but had no problem leaving Lane Kiffin for a second, or Lane left him. One or the other. They parted ways for a couple.
Well, I'll tell you this: if he was that well respected, he's been on Saban's staff before. And I guarantee he would have come to Alabama. So back to who's the guy that was tweeting out for Notre Dame?
Pete Sampson.
Pete Sampson.
If you end up getting Charlie Weiss Jr., you got less of a choice, at least in Nick Saban's mind. Would you guys give me that?
Yes.
Yeah, because to your point, Saban he knew Charlie Weiss Jr., had already dealt with Charlie Weiss Jr. as part of his analyst staff. Could have hired him at any moment. You would assume.
Yeah.
I mean, almost to trade, Pete Golding for Charlie Weiss Jr. So you're right. At least in Nick Saban's eyes, you would be getting a lesser guy. I don't know. I'm interested. Look, it's a complete unknown here because, like, we haven't seen Tommy Rees in this type of system with this type of talent, and we haven't seen Ty Simpson. I mean, who knows? Ty Simpson could be an average quarterback, or Ty Simpson could be, close to Tua Tagovailoa and Bryce Young. Mac Jones. There's no way of knowing that yet.
I do think this was, again, pure speculation, that there were multiple parts to Tommy Rees taking this job. I've just got a feeling there was some kind of stress between him and Marcus Freeman.
Well, we'll paint the scenario because this is what you're saying. You and I are working for Brown, right? Brown leaves to take a different job, and then Brown's our boss at that point. Whoever is over Brown is choosing between you and me, and we've been equals under Brown's head coaching position. Now Brown leaves, and you get picked over me. We were equals, but now you're my boss. That's a hard dynamic.
Well, and it goes a bit further. Remember, Marcus Freeman was on Cincinnati staff. He was on Notre Dame staff for 1 year.
That's right.
And he gets the head coaching job. So I think it's even worse when you look at it. I mean, the optics of that.
I got passed over at my school.
Yeah. So I think there's something to that. And I also think there's something to Tommy Rees finally breaking free, having those elite athletes, and seeing what it's like in the SEC.
Yeah.
Listen, as you join us now from the world of Wills, and we're just reacting to the breaking news of Tommy Rees, reports now being that he is the offensive coordinator for Nick Saban in Tuscaloosa for the upcoming season. And people who cover Notre Dame for like the South Bend Tribune and others are saying that the players were notified this afternoon that Tommy has left Notre Dame. And that's where this report started to leak out from the Notre Dame side, that the players had been told that Tommy is out, that he's off to Tuscaloosa. So as we react to that, I think you're looking at Tommy Rees as also a guy who one day, if he wants to be a head coach, Brown, you brought this up earlier today. Here's a guy now, when he comes to the SEC, yes, it's a high wire act. If you fail big. But if you win, if you're successful, you win big, and your opportunity to get a big major head coaching job is proven from Tuscaloosa.
Well, I mean, if you just look at the last five, you've got New England Patriots offensive coordinator, right? That's the job he got from there. You've got Texas head coach.
Yeah.
You've got Maryland head coach.
Right.
You've got
Ole Miss head coach.
Well, I was gonna go backwards in order with Brian Dable. You got Bills offensive coordinator to Giants head coach,
right,
and then Florida Atlantic head coach to Ole Miss head coach. I mean, the career path from the Alabama offensive coordinator job is really good.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a really good career path. You cannot deny that.
And defensive coordinators left for the Georgia head football coaching job, the Tennessee head football coaching job, and NCAA prison. And
Tosh LaPoy is the big step back. I mean, he went to Cleveland Browns as defensive line coach. Yeah.
But now at least he's back at Oregon now as a DC, or at least on the staff.
Your career is not dead, to your point. And then before that, Kirby Smart obviously took the Georgia job. Kevin Steele left for the Clemson defensive coordinator job when he and Kirby had that weird arrangement there. So, I mean, the coordinators for Saban generally get really good jobs. Like the only one I can think of, Major Applewhite left and went back to Texas, didn't he?
He did. He went back as a position coach.
He still ended up being Houston's head coach.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like his career died.
I mean, you had analysts who have come in like Butch Jones, and now he's a head coach in the Sun Belt. Other assistants who weren't coordinators go on, like Billy Napier, who's ascended up to the Florida job, McElwain. But you just go through the list of people who've gotten jobs. So Tommy Rees is a guy at age 30. I mean, if you come in and give Nick Saban 2 good years,
you're 32 and you'll have a good job.
You're 32, and any major opening that's popping out right now, if you win one national championship, you're the hot young coach that's going to be on somebody's radar.
Well, and let's look at it like this. I mean, this is way premature. This could end up being a disaster, Tommy Rees to Alabama. But if he has a ton of success, he's so young, he could be that next guy.
You never know. I mean,
coach and waiting guy.
You're right, Lance. Anytime right now from this point forward, if you accept the coordinator's job at Alabama, it's at least got to be in the back of your mind. If I go in there and slay it and everybody loves me.
And it times out right.
Well, I mean, from here on, like 10 years ago, you didn't think it was going to time out right. Right now, you got to think, if I can hang here a little bit and be really, really good, I'm at least in the mix, right? I may not get it. But where Tommy Rees is never going to get the Alabama head coaching job is the offensive coordinator at Notre Dame.
Yeah.
That's right.
I mean, so if you wanted to think of it that way, and these guys are pretty confident, and this is cart way before the horse. But yeah, I mean, you could look at it that way.
And this is, I know there's a lot of our listeners and viewers that know a lot more about recruiting than I do, but I think it would be interesting to know if Tommy Rees recruited Ty Simpson to Notre Dame. And the reason I bring that up,
I can look at that. You got it, Jim?
Is because Tommy Rees knows what he's getting in a quarterback in Sam Hartman. You really don't know what you're going to get with Ty Simpson. And this is us speculating Ty Simpson is going to be the guy. But, I mean, he was going to get speculation. He was going to get an elite quarterback coming in. So for him to go to an unknown, he's got to know a little bit of background.
You make a good point, because Sam Hartman, you think is there a chance Sam Hartman's the number 1 overall pick next year?
No. So Caleb
Williams.
Yeah, and then I think Drake May, and then I think the third quarterback would be Sam Hartman, at least right now.
Okay, so we're looking at a
still first round
draft pick. So you're about to go coach a first-round draft pick at Notre Dame, and you choose to leave that to go coach an unknown at Alabama. So I'm with you. He's either looked at some Ty Simpson, a couple possibilities. He's looked at Ty Simpson film and really likes him, or Jalen Milroe, to be fair to Jalen, or he's just playing when has Alabama screwed this up card, right? I mean, really, when have they?
But
I mean, Alabama normally has a good quarterback there.
looking at 30, you're not going to get this opportunity all the time. But at the same time, he could have stayed. The offense should be much better with Sam Hartman.
Yeah.
And then he could parlay that into another job. But again, I don't know when he's going to get another opportunity like this.
The official recruiter for Notre Dame, a little guy we like to call Tommy Rees.
On Sam Hart, I mean, on Ty Simpson.
Yeah. Now,
They offered him.
It was not one of they did offer him. The finalists were Baylor, Auburn, Arkansas, Arizona State, and Alabama.
So he didn't make the finalists, but still, I mean, he's recruited the kid, so he's got some familiarity with him, obviously.
Yeah. I mean,
that's interesting.
So Tommy Rees was the main, according to 24/7 Sports, recruited by Tommy Rees. For instance, Oklahoma, Lincoln Riley was the guy recruiting him there. Jeff Lebby was recruiting him to Ole Miss. Joe Moorhead was recruiting him to Oregon back then. And so on and so on down the list.
Let's throw some names out there. Here we go. Lance says Irish fans and beat writers keep floating Joe Moorhead's name to replace Rees. Joe Moorhead, if you've lost track of him,
head coach in the MAC?
Akron. Am I right about that? He's a MAC head coach. I think it's Akron, Jim, but he's definitely a MAC head coach. And there were rumors or reports or / rumors, I'm not sure which, that Nick Saban reached out to him, and he showed no interest in coming back to a coordinator's role, at least at Alabama.
Head coach at Akron.
Akron, yeah.
Yep.
Look, I mean, it was I don't want to call it a disaster. It was bad offenses when he was Mississippi State's head coach. But if you go back to 2016, Penn State with Trace McSorley and Saquon Barkley, when they went and played in the Rose Bowl against USC and that shootout against Sam Darnold, that was a dynamic offense.
He was probably the hottest offensive name in football at the time.
Well, he won a national championship at Fordham.
Yep.
Then he goes to Penn State. Penn State had a top 10 offense, and he parlays that into the Mississippi State job. It was a weird hire from the jump, but I think you can do a lot worse than Joe Moorhead at offensive coordinator.
8-5 and 6-7 at Mississippi State as the head coach. His offense was Nick Fitzgerald, the quarterback, and oftentimes Nick Fitzgerald, who didn't seem to fit his system.
No.
Dan Mullen said.
That's right. He was
a
great
fired after an 8-5 and 6-7.
That was it. 8-5 and 6-7. They had Mike Leach waiting.
It's a different world.
It is. They take that in a heartbeat.
He did not get fired at Akron last year. 2-10, 1-7 in the MAC.
That's why everybody's trying to look. You really want to beat your head against the wall at Akron? Come make $2 million to call plays at Notre Dame. I mean, that's what everybody.
Most of those MAC programs have had success. I think Akron is the one that never has, right?
He was
Terry Bowden didn't do anything there. He was at Akron.
Well, then that's probably why they're rebuilding a 2-10.
Terry left it in the dirt.
I don't know. I'm just
I
saying.
think somebody's been there in between.
Yeah, but that's an interesting name, Joe Moorhead.
Yeah.
But back to Alabama and the Ty Simpson thing, because that is if we were doing betting favorites in the young quarterback room, inexperienced room in Tuscaloosa on who's going to win the job, you would make Ty Simpson the Vegas favorite right now.
He would have to be. Yeah. I get even money. Is that where you go?
Well, again, we don't know a lot about recruiting, but everybody that follows recruiting says that Ty Simpson is one of these dual threat guys that can't miss and seems to be the best fit for Alabama's next quarterback.
Yeah, in fact, I would go Ty Simpson, Gap. Then I would go one of the new recruits this year. Then
Jalen Milroe.
Then Milroe, and then the other recruit this
Better
year.
chance Jalen Milroe starts at quarterback or changes position.
Or transfers.
I do that too.
I think they'll have a package for him.
God, I wish they'd had a package for him last year. I mean, and I don't know if Alabama fans agree with me, but there were some situations in the red zone or short yardage where having Bryce Young at 5 whatever and 100 and whatever lined up in the shotgun in a short yardage situation didn't seem to be a threat, as opposed to getting Milroe lined up under center, have that package ready to go where he could have done something.
Yeah, the Dolphins had to do that. They had to bring in
Bridgewater?
Yeah, Bridgewater or a different quarterback for Tua to run some quarterback sneak sometimes because Tua's so, fragile, honestly. But what it opens the door for, too, is trick plays, Dunaway. I mean, you can do a lot of things out of that. Actually, it was Jacoby Brissett. It wasn't Bridgewater. It was Jacoby Brissett last year that they did it with because he's much larger than Tua. And Milroe would have been, kind of interesting in those quarterback sneaks. Of course, you got to be under center to run a quarterback sneak. NH3425 says Saban got the top offensive coordinator in Notre Dame's conference. That's a good point. He did.
He really did.
Yep.
I don't know if he said the same thing. Somebody said that in our Vulcan Tower and Automotive chat during the show. I don't know if it was him saying the same thing, but it's a good one.
All right, he's got two names here, Joe Brady and Byron Leftwich. Joe Brady and Byron Leftwich. Now, there was a time Leftwich was on the fast track to an NFL head coach, and now he's fired in Tampa. Of course, man, you get fired in those NFL jobs, you always end up with another one.
Yeah, I don't know. This is going to be Marcus Freeman's call. I have no idea. I mean, are any of these Notre Dame beat writers throwing out possibilities?
Apparently, Joe Moorhead.
I mean, you saw Pete Sampson's name over here, and I feel like you put him in the crosshairs already.
No, I just think it's interesting the way he worded his tweet.
Let me go to his. I'll go to.
The way he worded his tweet was, "Woo, we got rid of that guy. Now we have an opportunity to go get an elite offensive coordinator."
Pete Sampson and Matt Fortuna, two guys I like a lot with the Athletic, have a list of possible candidates where you go to replace Tommy Rees. Man, they had this ready to go. Paul Chryst, former Wisconsin head coach.
Interesting. That'd be interesting.
Yeah.
I think runs a style that Notre Dame could embrace and win a lot of games with. It doesn't require you to be elite at the quarterback position. I think what?
You're making it sound like, it was a sunny day at old Notre Dame Stadium. It's the Fighting Irish, and our boys ran under the field.
No, I see what you're saying style-wise. The thing that would concern me with Paul Chryst, and I thought he was a good head coach, and it kind of fell apart at the end. But if you look at the quarterback position under Chryst, none of those guys ever developed. None.
Yeah, they did not. But I guess what I'm saying is Paul Chryst had a style of football that had at times some good success against the Big Ten, right?
It had an identity.
It had an identity and success against the Big Ten. And if you're Notre Dame, who are you playing a lot of? The ACC and the Big Ten.
Yeah, you are. And occasionally those brave young boys from West Point who made the trip to South Bend on a 2-day train ride.
I did make it sound like they're going to Service Academy offense, didn't they?
Recently dismissed or parted ways Josh Gaddis of the Miami Hurricanes.
Weird
right now currently out of work.
Yeah, free agent, Lance, Josh Gaddis is, and was just 2 years ago the Broyles Award winner for the best assistant coach in the nation at Michigan.
In Big Ten country, which fits Notre Dame a lot.
And as our buddy Charlie pointed out in the chat room, there was a lot of speculation that if Harbaugh jumped to the NFL last year, Josh Gaddis was getting that gig. And now he's fired. And, Miami just kind of fired him really midstream out of the blue, and nobody's hired the guy.
Yeah, I think his year at Michigan was much better. I would take that sample over what you saw in Miami last year.
You know what Alabama really liked about him is he was a really good recruiter. So, and that's why if you'll remember when he was hired for Penn State, and he wasn't the coordinator obviously at Alabama, but when he was hired for Penn State, everybody was like, Nick Saban just went out and got one of the best recruiters in the country, and Josh Gaddis. So if you're Notre Dame, I think that'd be an interesting name.
Joe Moorhead is on the list as well. So too is Slade Nagel, a guy who is the Tulane offensive coordinator. Tulane lost their defensive coordinator to Dan Lanning in Oregon. Hampton left New Orleans to go to Eugene. Slade Nagel is the guy there. And I'm trying to think back to watching Tulane games this year. I watched 4 of them.
It was a fun offense.
It really was. I can't remember if Willie Fritz was calling plays or not. I don't think he was. So hats off to Slade Nagel. He had a really good running back who he used running the ball, but he could catch the ball out of the backfield really well, and had a couple of good receivers and a gutsy quarterback.
Yeah, Pratt was a good quarterback. They utilized the tight end a little bit, which Notre Dame loves to do. It was a fun offense to watch.
I wonder if he's related to Browning Nagel. You remember him, the old Louisville quarterback back in the day? Do you remember Browning Nagel?
Oh, yeah.
It probably doesn't say
he was a starting quarterback for the Jets for a little bit.
Oh, really? I'd forgotten he played in the league. I just remember he played when Louisville was still in that old baseball stadium. You guys remember Howard Schnellenberger when he kind of cranked that program back up and they played in that old baseball stadium up there?
Nagel, by the way,
I think he beat Alabama in the bowl game.
According to this report, was on Nick Saban's short list for OC, that he was impressed enough. A Louisiana native, a guy who could recruit Louisiana, which has always been important.
Yeah.
Gerard Parker is the tight end coach at Notre Dame. I don't know how much credit you give him for Michael Mayer.
He's really good, though.
But Mayer is good, so the tight end coach promoting from within. Warren Ruggiero from Wake Forest, offensive coordinator.
That's that offense you hate.
I hate that mesh offense, but it was successful at Wake Forest. And who's the quarterback going to be?
The Wake Forest quarterback. So you just follow Sam Hartman there and try to revisit that magic, right?
Yeah.
Well, I wonder how hard it is to get that offense in an offseason, though.
And then Brandon Streeter, former Clemson offensive coordinator.
Well, I mean, he just got fired at Clemson.
Charlie Weiss Jr. is on that list, and that is the list of wow candidates from LT's favorite Notre Dame beat reporter, Pete Sampson. And
if I hired Streeter, I'd be really underwhelmed if I'm a Notre Dame fan.
Now you got my left nut, right?
I do. I am in possession of. Well, I'm not in actually possession of it. I have rights to your left nut. Yeah.
I was going to say I would go my right nut that Alabama's offense, and this is not out on a limb, will average more points than Notre Dame's this year.
Yeah. So I don't think you're going to get a steak bet out of Jimmy on that one.
I did not hear that. I was just reveling.
I would take the bet if I were you.
Reveling in the fact that Peter Burns has liked my tweet and commented with bingo on Ty Simpson and Tommy Rees, the connection there.
It's only going up for Dunaway now. Peter Burns is like,
and I got no credit for that.
Yeah,
that's true. Didn't Lance say that?
Yeah,
or at least ask the question.
Should I go back and change my tweet?
No. Peter's already liked it now.
Yeah. Pee Wee writes in on Twitter. We take your comments also on the video chat. Says we're live at World of Wheels. Also on Twitter at Next Round Live. Taylor Korn, our social media director, is here as well, sifting through all that and getting us out to everyone today. Thanks for being with us. Specialty show from the World of Wheels. More on that in a second. But we also react to the new offensive coordinator in Tuscaloosa. Peter Burns of the SEC Network writes this. First, Brian Kelly to LSU. Now, Tommy Rees to Alabama. Notre Dame is becoming a solid farm program for the Southeastern Conference. Peter never missing an opportunity.
Yeah, wave that SEC flag.
Yeah.
Jay Pear says, basically every week I was impressed at how much worse Notre Dame's offense was. They have been brutal. They have been brutal to watch, to be honest. I'm not sure what to think. Now, they had quarterback injuries this year, right, Lance?
Yeah, they did.
It was right out of the chute, wasn't it? Didn't he get hurt against Ohio State? Am I right about that?
Yep.
And then once that happened, it was just kind of a spiral out of control. They were not a good offense. I'm not going to try to paint this like Nick Saban has gone out and hired the hottest offensive name in football. I don't think people were beating down the door to hire Tommy Rees. I really don't. Did Nick Saban get this right? We'll see. I'm far be it for me to doubt Nick Saban.
Again, it was a team that lost to Marshall at home, and the reason they lost was because of turnovers.
Did they have 3 interceptions in that game, I think?
I know they had a pick 6.
Yeah. This does seem to be his biggest gamble at a coordinator position on the offensive side of the football since Major Applewhite, but at least Rees has been an offensive coordinator before. I think Applewhite came in with very little or no offensive coordinator background.
I think you're right, and everybody was a little surprised at that, and he paired him up with Joe Pendry, who was old school. Major was young and new school. They butted heads. It was just never good, never smooth. And Todd says, real quick, reminder, and this is in the chat room, reminder, Nick Saban reached out and hired Jim McElwain back in 2008. Even McElwain was surprised to get the call. He turned the opportunity into 2 national titles and eventually the Florida head coaching job.
Yeah. And you know what happens is, when you're a head coach like Nick Saban, who admittedly watches too much film, doesn't watch live football games usually, he says, because I try to enjoy them, and I end up just working because I'm watching, and then I'm starting to break it down like I do film. So he watches mostly film. He doesn't watch live games. You go back and you prepare to play Notre Dame in a semifinal game in 2020. What do? You see a lot of Tommy Rees's play calling. You watch all his game tapes, so you feel comfortable with Tommy Rees. Some of that has happened over time. You end up seeing guys on your game tapes that becomes part of your network, and you go back to your memory bank and say, man, I like the way that guy called a game, or that guy really stressed us at this position. That's why I thought, until Tom Herman got the Florida Atlantic job, I thought Tom Herman would have been that home run hire for Alabama if he had not gotten a head coaching job. What a great guy, because they loved Tom Herman's offense when he was at Ohio State. A couple of other things going on in college football to keep an eye on that we talked about earlier today, but we'll keep talking Tommy Rees, Alabama coordinator, defensive coordinator, and what's going on here at the World of Wheels. But also, Ross Dellinger has a good readout, and we'll get into this later. Again, we're live with you all the way until 5 o'clock Central. But later on, remind me to go back to Ross Dellinger's story this afternoon. He writes, details are emerging from the Fox and ESPN negotiations, which included an offered broadcasting rights trade of Texas future games involving Ohio State and Michigan. The trade was denied as they were trading broadcast rights for future games involving Texas, Ohio State, and Michigan down the road to try to speed up this exit.
If you had to guess, do you think it's 24?
I still think it's going to be 2024 that they end up in the league, but you see where we're at now. You have people basically shooting for the moon. Okay, we will let them leave early for this amount of money, blah, blah, blah. But we want the broadcast rights when Michigan goes to Texas and when Ohio State goes to Texas. We want those games to be on Fox and not ESPN and ABC. And then ESPN and ABC is like, well, no, we don't want that. But we'd love to have when Auburn goes to play USC and when Alabama goes to play so and so on your footprint.
Yeah.
And
So-
when they go to play Ohio
Yeah.
State. Well, no, we can't do that.
So don't forget what I said earlier today. There is a chance that the stumbling block here is between Fox and ESPN, and that shows you that could be the case, or at least it's one of the major stumbling blocks.
Yeah. I mean, that's at least saying they are having some discussions
Right.
That are not getting well received there as they try to offer up future games. But that's one of the things we backdrop here. Before we get back into the sports, we always love this event. How many years, Brown? It's over
52.
50.
This is year 52, Jimmy D.
52 of the
Yep.
O'Reilly Auto Parts World of Wills. Thompson Square is in a concert later on this evening at 6 o'clock. You can buy tickets at the door here at the BJCC. Come on down here. And in that far corner over there is a stage where Thompson Square will be holding a very intimate concert tonight.
They had a number one, right? Thompson Square
They did. Can you look that up, Taylor? Thompson Square, number one hit country song. It was something about, are you going to kiss me or not?
Yeah, I am not, for the record.
Yeah,
Oh, that's the song name.
I think so, yes.
Are you going to kiss me or not?
Yeah.
I will not.
Yeah. Are you going to kiss me or not? Something like that.
Was
What
that
is it?
Taylor? No, no. Oh, yeah, no. That's the name of the song. Did it hit number one? Taylor says it reached number one.
What year does it say? Would have been 90s?
90s?
90s country?
It can't be that old.
71.
No, it's going to be 90s, late 80s, and 90s. Let's say 90s. Thompson Square. 90s country was rocking.
2010. 90s? No, 2010. Okay,
Wow,
close.
that's very different. Okay.
Yeah.
So not Alan Jackson, 1990s, or George Strait,
Yeah.
2010 Thompson Square.
Uh,
Husband-wife
yeah.
team, I hear.
Yeah, how about our buddy Jonathan Hardison, Fox 6, says Jim is correct on the song title. I never pegged Hardison as a Thompson Square fan.
Well, I would bet, and I don't know this, but if he knows that, I would bet they are Kentucky natives, or at least Kentucky. I bet they've sang the national anthem at Rupp
Potentially.
Arena.
Now, don't forget.
I feel pretty good there in the SEC footprint.
Don't forget. Hardison also went to school in Nashville. He went to college in Nashville, so he probably spent some time on Broadway back in the day.
Where'd he go to school?
Lipscomb, I believe. I don't want to offend him and say Lipscomb and it was Belmont, but I'm pretty sure Hardison graduated from Lipscomb.
Hardison?
You know it wasn't Vanderbilt, though,
It was
right?
not Vanderbilt. I can tell you it was not Vanderbilt because he's a Kentucky fan.
Hardison is Fox 6 News anchor here locally, the future of broadcasting in Birmingham. He has a musical background, so it may have been Belmont, a great musical
He plays
school.
the drums at my church a lot.
I know that.
Did you? How'd you know?
That's why I brought up just now that he has a musical
Well,
background.
I didn't know if you knew he played drums, but Hardison on the he's on the drum side.
I follow him on social media. As
Yeah.
He spreads the word of God on social media. It shows
Through
him playing-
drums.
through
Yeah.
drums.
Yeah, Shades Mountain Baptist. Some Sunday mornings you'll stroll in there and know Hardison's banging the drums, man.
Yeah. I show
He
it to
does
my-
a good job with it too.
I show it to my wife occasionally, and I said, "This is Hardison's calling right here. The drum beat to salvation, I call it."
He does a good job with it. Now I don't know what the crap I'm talking about, but it sounds good to me. You want to go back to some comments here in the chat room?
Would love to, Brown.
Lance says, excuse me, 2020 playoff teams. Bama offense loaded with NFL first rounders. Clemson loaded with Trevor Lawrence and NFL first rounders. Ohio State's with Fields and first rounders. Tommy Rees had Ian Book. I mean, that's a good point, right? When you look at the 2020 playoff teams, you see Bama, Clemson, Ohio State all over those teams. And Tommy Rees is coaching Ian Book. So that is a significant difference. I mean, Ian Book's the best quarterback they've had there in 10, 15 years.
Oh.
He was the guy was he the guy?
Yeah, he's the one that went to college football playoff.
Yeah.
So look,
Everett Golson was the other.
Yeah.
Who
started against Bama in 2012? I'm sorry, Jim.
Golson.
Okay.
if you're recruiting Ty Simpson, Tommy Rees when he was at Notre Dame, you're recruiting him while Ian Book's your quarterback. So you're probably recruiting somebody who's got like qualities.
Maybe so.
And I have not yet seen Ty Simpson play a game. But from people who describe his game to me, who've watched his tape or have seen him practice, they describe a guy who reminds me a lot of Ian Book.
Ian Book was mobile. I'm not going to say he was very mobile.
Right.
I get and again, I haven't seen Ty Simpson play, but in my head, it's more of a Johnny Manziel for whatever reason.
Wow.
I could be completely
Holy
up.
crap.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
he's the best dual threat quarterback coming out, right?
Yeah, we've
Yeah.
I
just
don't-
described two totally different people.
Yeah, I don't think Ian Book
Ian
was that
Book-
guy. But
Ian
Ian
Book
Book
done it
was.
himself?
I mean, he could get it done with his legs.
Yeah, I described a guy who would occasionally run and would remind you to be quiet in the library. You described a guy who runs a lot.
Did you say that because of the name Book?
and does shots in the library?
Never saw the library, the one with the books anyway. Let's see. Our buddy Nick Johnston RV Center, says Milroe was the obvious backup in 2022. Why does everyone assume Simpson will be the guy in 23? I'm just going on what I've heard from people around Alabama, that they really believe in Simpson. I guess the question will be, if he was the heir apparent, why was Milroe the obvious backup? And I don't know the answer to that question.
I would go back to 2009,
Right?
when there was a backup quarterback behind Greg McElroy. You have to remind me who that is, but
In what, in 09?
yeah, but
Uh,
A.J. McCarron was not the number 2 guy all season long.
But in the national championship game, they said, in event of injury, we will pull the red shirt and play A.J. McCarron.
Right. But now you can play 4 games.
Was Star Jackson the backup?
It may have been,
Yeah.
but there
Was
there was a guy that was the guy who came in and mop up duty all season long.
Yep.
The only difference is that you had to start games this year with your number 2 quarterback, and they chose not to go to Ty Simpson.
Yeah,
Philip Sims, not Star Jackson.
Phillip
Philip
Sims.
Sims, yeah. I think that was it.
I thought it was Star
It
Jackson.
may have been. I don't know. That's a long time ago.
Anyway,
Think
yeah,
how long ago.
I kind of agree. I thought that was a little weird. You know, it's one thing, hey, we're not going to burn 4 games, but when you are in a must-win situation in Arkansas, why would you not play him? And A&M, right?
So that's what surprised me, that
Well,
it was Miller. I mean, we never got to see A.J. McCarron because the number 2 quarterback in 2009 behind McElroy was doing only mop-up duty.
right.
McElroy was healthy for all the games, or played with pain and got out there and started every game. This year, you lose Bryce Young in 2 games, and it was Milroe the starter. It wasn't Ty Simpson. So that's a great point.
Yeah.
Whoever brought that up.
NH3425 says Milroe would be a great tight end. He's not the first person I've heard say that. I've heard a lot of people say that. By the way.
Luganville said free safety type.
Yeah. Landmine Believer says, Dunaway, I screamed it the whole year. This is going back to your comment about having some sort of short yardage package with a more physical runner like Jalen Milroe versus Bryce Young. He says he screamed it all year. Landmine Believer believes in your landmine and believed in your comment there.
Well, it wasn't. On the show, I was not the first to say it. I actually think it was either you or LT that said, why not Milroe in a more physical package? Maybe it was Aaron Suttles on Bama and Bourbon.
Walker says, imagine being Sam Hartman, transferring to Notre Dame, and now your offensive coordinator is gone. I mean, now if he ends up with his old offensive coordinator, which you would say, well, if he liked him, why did he leave Wake Forest? So maybe he doesn't like his old offensive coordinator or that slow mesh style that Wake Forest played. But maybe he does, and maybe he would be cool ending up with his old offensive coordinator. But, I mean, today, if I'm Sam Hartman, I'm like, there's a chance anyway. I mean, I feel like a jilted lover a little bit. I uprooted my life. I moved to South Bend, and now you're going to Tuscaloosa?
Yeah, you're still starting quarterback for Notre Dame.
Yeah.
You are.
To me, I felt like Sam
What if they
Hartman.
go to Paul Chris, though? I mean, does that excite you if you're Sam Hartman? You're like,
Wouldn't excite me.
Yeah.
It was Star Jackson. Did you say?
yeah, it was Star Jackson. Yeah.
I felt like that he was leaving that slow mesh to go to a different style of system
To go show I'm an NFL quarterback.
to improve NFL, because, and I may be wrong about this. I mean, because there are different things that work now in the NFL that I never thought would work in the NFL because of the speed of the
Yeah.
game. But I just don't see that slow mesh offense ever working in the NFL because of the speed of the game. Now, I may be wrong. It may end up being the wave of the future. It may be dipping dots one day in the NFL, but it's an offense that I don't think I look at Sam Hartman and say, you know what, that guy can quarterback the New England Patriots someday or the Baltimore Ravens. And I thought that's why he left and went to do this at Notre Dame in a more pro-style friendly offense.
Sam says, wow, I had no idea Ian Book was on the Eagles. Ian Book actually got a start against my Dolphins for the Saints. You remember that? Monday Night Football. Yeah, so, I mean, he's had an NFL start, Ian Book has. I mean, he'll probably be one of those guys that hangs on as a NFL backup for 10, 15 years, makes a good living doing it.
Absolutely, but, again, you're pairing him. You had a couple of quarterbacks who are always the backup to Lamar Jackson, right?
Yep.
Because you didn't have to change the offense. Ian Book plays a Jalen Hurts style of game, and that's why I think he fits at Philadelphia. Ian Book wouldn't go and replace, he wouldn't be Aaron Rodgers back up to play the same type system, I don't think.
Yeah, I would agree with you. Yeah, it's going to be one of those fits. I wanted to go back up to this because we've got a slight theme here. I was going to see if I could find. Yeah, here it is. Josh says, "Good afternoon from Charleston, South Carolina. I am stoked about the Pearl Jam show tonight with Rockstar. Is it me or is most of the elite offensive coordinators of the last decade graduated to head coach positions?" I just wanted to throw that up there because there's Josh in Charleston going to Rockstar's Pearl Jam show. I mean, it's wild to me the locations Rockstar goes to and does a show and we get photos from.
Yeah.
Like,
it really is.
We got Pensacola last night, right?
Right.
Somebody sent us one this morning for the show in Pensacola.
Like right now, I think it's 100%. Every show we've had at least one.
Yeah.
I don't think we got one from Knoxville. We had at least one from Lexington. I don't think we got one from Knoxville the other day.
Yeah.
Swing and a miss, by the way, on Manziel. I heard he's more like Daniel Jones.
Daniel Jones.
Does he have that kind of size?
Ty Simpson?
Yeah.
I had him at 6'2".
I think 6'2".
2 is what I had.
How big is Danny Dimes?
I think Daniel Jones 6'4", 6'5".
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, he's a big dude.
Ty Simpson, Dunaway, you got him? Ty Simpson, Alabama is 6'2". I don't have a weight on him. His roster weight there, Lance, 6'2", 198. Skinny little kid. He'll put some weight on him in a college program there, or they already have. So that was the first one. Here's I'm going to butcher the name, so I'm not going to try. Watching us live from Copenhagen, Denmark.
Oh,
Surprising hire, but not going to doubt Saban. Well, I'd like to go to Copenhagen. I don't know if you guys.
I'd love to.
I always called it Copenhagen.
Well, that's the I believe that's the dip, and the city is Copenhagen, if I'm not mistaken. But I could be wrong, Jim.
Are you going that because of Hagen-Dazs, the ice cream?
Hagen-Dazs. I don't know if that's Danish. I believe that is German, if I'm not mistaken.
I thought so too, which is why I went with Copenhagen.
Yeah, I think it's Copenhagen is the nation. Copenhagen is the smokeless tobacco, if I am not mistaken. But I could be wrong. I am but a kid from Calhoun County, Dunaway. So I am not sure why I'm commenting on this.
I learned Copenhagen from 1980s NASCAR.
Yeah. Sachs High School. I don't remember if we found out how to pronounce the capital of Denmark, and I'm assuming that is the capital of Denmark. Jay Mose says, "Man, I am digging these TNR extra hours." Lunsford, do you know the answer to the question we're asking? Just give me a thumbs up. Lunsford's laughing at us. I can see him in the preview screen laughing at us.
He's got control. Just punch yourself up.
No, I can put him up.
Put him up full, double screen, whatever.
All right.
A, he's going to tell us how to pronounce Copenhagen.
Yeah.
B, what else smart ass thing
I can't hear him now. Oh, no. Don't tell me.
Oh, sorry. I always thought it was Copenhagen in the city.
Really hot, too. Really
you went
hot.
Copenhagen, too?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. That's okay.
Oh, see, now I feel better.
Maybe our feed that's hot. Maybe not you.
Yeah. Copenhagen.
Yeah. All right. Copenhagen. Thank you, Lunsford.
Thank you. Thank you, Lunsford.
Yeah. Bye. All right. Lunsford's going. Namath says, which quarterback fits the new offensive coordinator better, Milroe or Simpson? May have already discussed this. He just got on the stream recently. Well, again, go back to what you talked about with the recruiting. It was Lance's idea. You did the footwork on it. I had nothing to do with it.
Lance said, Jim, pretend you're my secretary. Go look up who recruited Tommy Rees when he was being recruited. Was he recruited by Notre Dame? And I did. Let me change that over. Who recruited Ty Simpson when he was being recruited? Ty Simpson, the quarterback at Alabama. I looked at 24/7 Sports. It was Tommy Rees who was his main recruiter, trying to get him to come to Notre Dame. So Tommy Rees has great familiarity with Ty Simpson. To your point,
yeah. And my point really was Tommy Rees is leaving a situation where he's got familiarity. He's got a elite quarterback, borderline elite quarterback coming in as Sam Hartman, and he's going to a quarterback that's never started. Our speculation is Ty Simpson will be the guy, a guy that's never started a collegiate game. So I would assume that he's got some knowledge of Ty Simpson.
Yeah, I mean, I think you would have to think he's quite familiar with him. That is an excellent question. Namath. Samuel says, I will go to the Dallas show if I can get a free T-shirt. Rockstar in Dallas. If you guys will help me remember, I'll mention that to Rockstar, and Samuel, let us know your shirt size. We'll send a next round shirt with Rockstar, and you can find them after the show. You guys think that's fair?
I think that's fair.
I will do that right there. LT. Well, here we go. We're off sports real quick. Can we do it on sports real quick? Yeah.
Don't look at me.
Please. LT, Blake says, what were your thoughts on episode 3 of The Last of Us? If they keep the momentum, it could be one of the best single seasons of a show.
It was such a transition from what we had seen in the first 2 episodes. And again, I don't know the background of the game.
Right.
Lunsford actually knows how the first couple of seasons of the game plays out. But I think it was a curveball to anybody that knew what the game was about. And it was so, and I'm kind of using Lunsford's words here, it was so far from what you would expect any kind of zombie apocalypse show to be, at least that 55 minutes to an hour. The acting was incredible. It was a heartfelt episode. And I just think the writing and the characters have been great thus far. And I agree. I was telling somebody last night, through 3 episodes, this might be the best show I know it's the best show I've seen in 2023.
Okay. I've not watched an episode. Walker,
early in the second month, early February.
No, that's what I said. I mean, it's early.
It's early, but I mean, it's going to have to go to catch.
I mean, it's better. As much as I love Tulsa King, it's better than the Tulsa King.
Walker says, I'll go to the Dallas show in my TNR hat. Shout out to Lunsford for adding the bigger hat sizes. Thank you for that, Lunsford. As a guy with a big head myself.
Thank you, Lunsford.
So we're going to have a guy going to the Dallas show to get a TNR shirt and a guy going in a TNR hat. Again, just blows me away how passionate you guys are and how spread out you are. It's wild. Volfan205 says, Lance, True Detective, season 1, best single season of a show ever. This one isn't even close to that yet.
No. Yeah. I mean, that's the best.
That's the gold standard?
Yeah. It's gold standard, best standalone season ever in the history of television.
That was fantastic. I love that. Was that show more intense than The Last of Us, or is The Last of Us more intense than True Detective season 1?
Oh, so there were moments, the one scene that they film in sequence when he infiltrates that biker gang, when McConaughey does.
Right.
That was intense. One of the final scenes with the Yellow King is really intense. But, the thing about this is it's almost Hitchcockian, and you've got – Guy has got to protect what is the cure possibly to this fungal infection. Boy, I sound like a nerd talking about this.
You really do.
But he goes, they're going in vacant buildings and they're trying to find their way across the country. So, every turn something can pop up. So you're always on edge. So it's really intense.
Are you baited in, Dunaway? You're going to watch this?
Well, I'm such a scaredy cat, and I'm alone a lot in life. So I don't like being scared and alone. I don't want it to be the last of me.
That's pretty good, that way. All right, so Last of Us. Where can I find that for those that don't know?
HBO Max. Yeah, it's on demand. All 3 episodes are up. It's out every Sunday night.
And I'm ready to call it. HBO Max is the #1 streaming service.
What all do you watch on it? Because Succession is coming back. We saw the trailer for that. I think it's back in March. Am I right about that?
Well, it's all the HBO shows.
Well, I know that.
And I love the HBO shows. And what I love about them, and I think Lunsford would agree with this, and you guys will too, is they are not weird about, they just put all their shows up. Like if I want to go back and watch Entourage, they got them all up there.
Band of Brothers.
If I want to go watch Band of Brothers, anything that's ever been on. If I want to go watch Shameless, was that Showtime?
That was Showtime.
It's my dadgummit. I knew I would do one of them the wrong.
Yep.
Any HBO show of all time, it is just up there. You can go back and watch it anytime you want, and I like that.
Yeah. Curb Your Enthusiasm, right?
That's where it all is. Curb's on there.
Lunsford says in the chat, HBO Max is #1, not even close. Succession, Euphoria.
Oh, Euphoria. What a fantastic show.
I refuse to watch it.
Game of Thrones and House of the Dragon is there. Last of Us is there. White Lotus is there. Plus all the old stuff like Sopranos, Band of Brothers, etc.
I will say White Lotus. I guess we consider that 2023. When did a White Lotus start?
That was the end of 2022, I think.
Okay, maybe. Well, it's close.
So would you put it in the Last of Us category?
Yeah. Because right now, the Last of Us is an A. White Lotus was an A this year.
Well, somebody asked me the other day, did you really like season 2 better than season 1? Because this person told me season 1 was much better than season 2. I said I liked them both differently for different reasons, but I thought season 2 was better than season 1.
Oh, season 2 was better than season 1.
I thought so too.
So somebody told you season 1 was better?
Somebody liked season 1 better than season 2.
Oh, again, I thought season 1 was good. I thought season 1 was more comfortable, if that's even possible. You would like White Lotus.
Yeah, you guys describe it as the most awkward thing you watch.
It is one of the more awkward things. I mean, it's a lot. It's really all about sexuality, at least this season.
Yeah.
But it's well done.
Season 1 was about the haves and the have-not, service industry versus the people at hotels and resorts that host you, compared to the people who come and stay at the resorts. They think of you as sort of second-class people, just there to please them.
Yep. And there's some of that in this too, because the backbone of the story is the White Lotus, which is based after the Four Seasons.
So the White Lotus is actually a hotel.
Yeah, it's a
chain
resort.
of hotels.
It's the Four Seasons.
Chain of resorts.
Yeah, I've heard that next year they're going to like Malaysia or India.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
I forgot, it was one of the two.
And it's like it was financials, the class system the first year. This was sexuality this year. It's supposed to be something to do with life and death. The afterlife is supposed to be number 3.
That's probably India then.
Yeah, I've heard it was going to India. I don't know anything about the show.
But I don't know. I guess I would go HBO Max. Netflix is close though. I mean, Netflix. Thing about Netflix is they continue to churn out new material, whether it's good or not. You can decide that on your own. But like last night, I watched that Pamela Anderson documentary. I thought it was well done. I can't believe how raw she was, and the fact that she did not wear a lick of makeup the entire documentary.
She didn't?
No.
Good for her.
And you could tell.
Yeah, you can tell. But I did think it was very interesting how she's accepted age and where she is now. She's still looking for love.
How old is she?
54 or 55, I would say.
That 50 hits you different. I'll go ahead and tell you. 50 hits you different.
When you hit the 5-0, the big
does.
5-0.
Well, especially
It
somebody
does.
like Pamela Anderson.
Right. Well, I can't imagine for a woman what 50 does. 50 for a man hits you different. I would imagine that's a much earlier age for a woman.
Yeah, but I mean, you got to think somebody like Pam Anderson, the only thing she is known for is her look. I mean, she's not a good actress.
Right.
She can't sing that I'm aware of.
That's what's okay. So this is funny, and I don't want to give too much of the. I don't know if you guys are going to watch it.
I am not going to watch
Okay,
it.
it's
But some of our viewers might. So
It's worth the watch.
Okay.
Anyway, I didn't realize she did a revival of Chicago, the play. She was the lead.
can sing.
She wasn't bad. Like
So you saw there's some footage of it.
So when they reach out, she wants to get back into acting. When they reach out, they offer her. I forgot how long the run was on Broadway. I was like, this is gonna be a disaster. But she actually could carry a tune. It wasn't like groundbreaking, but it wasn't anything you'd be like, God, this is awful. So she held her own.
How many, and Taylor, chime in on this, how many people do you think actually can carry a tune enough to like sing in church or sing if we're all riding in a car or sing karaoke? And
What percentage?
Yeah, of the American population, because I fall in the other side of that.
Yeah,
like,
I do too. I think it's 1 in 10.
Now define sing in church. Like I'm on the stage, I'm in the choir, I'm in the congregation.
like
Where
if
am I?
Just like 6th grade choir at school. Like I had to take the class,
Yeah.
but in 6th grade, my teacher told me to lip sync.
Listen,
You know what's weird is when I was young, I could sing because I did a lot of plays when I was younger, like in elementary school, and I
Right.
always had to sing a solo to try out for different parts. And so I could actually sing when I was a kid. When my voice changed, people are like,
oh, that happens a lot. Yeah.
you've got a good radio voice, but I can't carry a tune now.
Yeah, that happens a lot. Like when you've still got your young kid falsetto type voice, and then your goods drop.
Yep.
And you completely lose it. And you can never sing again.
Happened to Peter Brady on the Brady Bunch back in the day, old reference. But I understand that with you, LT, because your tonsils are now the size of a Clemson basketball player's testicles.
So we're working on that. I went to an ENT, and I guess we can be all over the place. This is one of those specialty shows. I went to an ENT a couple of weeks ago because I had tonsillitis for like the 3rd time in 2 years. And I had scheduled it during 2020 to get the tonsils removed.
Right.
And because of 2020, I canceled. So I went back to the ENT, and we were about to schedule the procedure to get them removed with the adenoids. And I've heard it is awful for an adult. So I really don't want to get it done. And the fact that I've never had surgery. But the ENT said, look, we've got one last Hail Mary that we can try. And I'm going to put you on a steroid and an antibiotic, like super strength, and come back in 3 weeks. And I actually think it's working.
I think it is too. And the thing I've loved the most is just how you're carrying us in wiffle ball, hitting all the home runs. You're just jacking one.
You're
one
saying
over-
that because he's getting his
Yeah.
tonsils out.
getting the steroids, man. You're just
The
killing.
roids.
Oh, or the fact that I'm like a kid because adults
That
still
is a
get their
kid
tonsils
surgery.
taken
I mean,
out.
I know very few adults that have had their tonsils
No,
removed.
I was going straight steroids because
Yeah.
I really, I take a testosterone shot, and maybe it's mental
Right.
or something, Brown. But I do, honest to goodness, and my friends who I play golf with will tell you,
You hit the drives further.
Since taking that shot, I drive the ball a lot further now than I used to.
So you added yardage to your drive just taking testosterone injections, you think?
Brown, 30 yards.
30, Dunaway? That's
Yeah.
a significant increase.
Yeah, no, like I was hitting it on 200 on the nose. And
Didn't you get Nugo equipment as well, though? That could
No.
So same equipment?
Yeah. Same equipment, 200 to 230. Now, that's 230 is nothing to brag about.
Yeah.
Listen, I'm not saying I'm going out there and DeChambeauing it, but from where I was to where I am now, it's amazing. Honest to goodness, sometimes I think about double shotting myself 1 week just before I go and play the guys.
Like
with
double
dots.
dipping. Do you think that might have some health ramifications? Have you looked into that?
Well, yeah, since the dots are only worth $1, I've weighed that out and yet to double shot. But if the dots ever get big enough, I may Mark McGuire this thing up. No offense, Mark.
No, I think Mark's well aware that that everybody thinks he shot that thing up.
I may be trying to find me. What was his Bash brother teammate?
Jose Canseco.
Yeah, I may be trying to find me a Canseco to meet me in the stall and jab me one in the butt.
But
It's like a shot.
Yeah, there you go. Wow. Michael says, so Pruitt will be casually announced around 8 o'clock tonight. Good to do on a Friday night.
Michael,
the
if
old
that
Friday
happens,
news dump.
if that happens, we will all gather at a local donut place tomorrow and raise our glass. That would be fantastic.
Do you think Jeremy Pruitt's the next defensive coordinator?
I do not.
It's not Todd Grantham. If you missed the show today, Todd Grantham is off to the Saints. So you've dodged the Todd Grantham bullet.
Jeremy Pruitt might be calling defensive plays next year, but I do not believe he is going to have the title of defensive coordinator. I did last week, but I'm not so sure. Of course, when I say that, obviously Grantham knows that Saban's got his guy.
Speaking of getting your guy.
Yeah, you're right about that.
Speaking of getting your guy, as we reset at the top of the hour here from the world of wills, we'll get back to Tommy Rees as Alabama's new OC and all of that. But Auburn football has a commitment this afternoon. And the big debate, we had a sound bite from Hugh Freeze talking on our show today about, are they going to take a quarterback in the portal, the second portal coming up after spring practice? He wants to evaluate the quarterbacks they have already. But Auburn has a commitment now from 4-star quarterback Walker White, who picks Auburn over Clemson and Ole Miss.
Heisenberg?
Walker White.
No, it's not Walter White.
6'3", 215 from Little Rock Christian Academy in Little Rock, Arkansas.
They have one thing in common.
Say my name.
They both dill. That was a Dunaway line.
That's really good, though. I liked it.
So cheesy.
What if he does that, like in the press conference? He comes in after he plays the game. Say my name. Was that your favorite scene from that show?
That was a good one. I did like when he went to see Tico and he bombed the place. God, that was such a good show.
It was a good show.
He was being recruited by Hugh Freeze and Philip Montgomery, to come to Auburn, and he has made that verbal commitment today, according to 24/7. So a big get from Auburn there.
5-star, you said?
4-star quarterback.
Okay.
Yep. Again, over Clemson, he was being recruited there by Garrett Riley, who had been recruiting him to TCU. So Garrett was trying to get him to Clemson. So that was one of the finalists. And then, of course, Ole Miss, who had Lane Kiffin as his personal recruiter. He was the guy that was recruiting him. So that's who he chooses today. I mean, Baylor was in on him. Arkansas and Dan Enos was in on him. But he has picked Auburn today. So that may be Hugh Freeze's first quarterback that he brings into Auburn.
Yeah, maybe the first guy with full Hugh Freeze fingerprints on him, so to speak.
Yeah.
We are at the World of Wills. Rockstar is going to join us momentarily. He is on tour, so we'll check in on the Rockstar World Tour and see how that's going. But he is Jim Dunaway. He's Lance Taylor. I'm Ryan Brown. Taylor Corn, our social media director here as well. We are live at the World of Wills, BJCC. It's the O'Reilly Auto Parts World of Wills, 52nd year for this. And you can get tickets and all the information, worldofwills.net. That is worldofwills.net. Or tickets in advance at any local O'Reilly Auto Parts in the Birmingham area. You can skip the lines and get tickets there. And I say lines, the doors open here right before we went live at 3:00. I visited the concession stand to grab a water. I walked by that lobby back there. People lined up outside to get in this place. I mean, there will be lines. You could skip those lines at worldofwheels.net or at Birmingham area O'Reilly Auto Parts. Tons of cars behind us. If you're a car freak, and like Lance's son Jack is 16 now, 15 now, loves cars, right? He's going to come here tonight with you. He could stay here for hours, couldn't he?
Yeah,
so
Jack,
it's good for the kids.
His cousin Jace, their buddy Ryan, they're all coming.
Yeah, good for the kids. Is my point there, right?
Yeah, they love it. And the thing is, I learned a lot just walking around with them.
Yeah.
You would be blown away at the value of some of these cars.
All right, so I'm going to tell you something. I don't know. I'm looking at the screen. I don't think people can see it. And I'm going to tell you what Dunaway said. All right, so turn around. You see that green truck behind us right there?
Yep.
Dunaway told our friend Amy Coffey, who is one of the people that runs this, that's his bucket list when he retires. He wants to buy one of those trucks.
But I told her I'd have to win the lottery to buy it.
Do you see Dunaway using one of those trucks ever, Lance? Could you see Dunaway driving that thing?
I really would like this one more over here to the right.
Yes.
Right here. More, not that style, but more this style.
This old blue Chevy?
Yeah, that's more of what I grew up with.
Right.
You know, my buddy Joe Glass's dad, Mr. Glass, as you would imagine, don't know his first name. Mr. Glass passed away. But that's the kind of truck I rode in the back of.
Okay, but that's got a drop kit.
Do you know more of an impulse buyer than Jim Dunaway? The fact that he would come to World of Wheels and be like, that's the truck I want right there when I retire.
No, I mean, I said I'd have to win the lottery. I don't have this kind of money.
I don't know what that truck was. What do you think that truck goes for? 100,000?
That truck there?
Yeah.
No.
green
Souped up
one.
with all that?
No, the green one right there.
Yeah. Souped up with all that?
Yeah, that's 100,000.
Yeah, those wheels and all that? No, 250.
I don't think it's 250. I bet it's definitely six figures. I'd say 150.
Well, it depends. Is it the original engine?
Couldn't really tell you. I know nothing about.
You don't
this
think it's
crap.
the original engine?
I don't think so.
Okay.
All right, we are at World of Wheels, worldofwheels.net. Thank you for watching us on YouTube. Give us a thumbs up there on YouTube
What about
for
that
this video.
1961 Corvette right there.
I do like that. That is a sharp car.
I would say that's probably close to $1 million.
Oh, no way.
I think so. I don't know. I mean, 1961 Corvette.
Brand, do you realize how many 1961 Corvettes they make nowadays?
Zero. Yes. Thumbs up on YouTube. Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, wherever you're watching us, like us, share us, please, on social media. Fire off a retweet of this that you're watching right here. Share it on Facebook. And if you are on YouTube, make sure you've subscribed to our channel and you've set your alerts so you know when we're live. Now,
real quickly, can you see that one right there, this black one? Can you see it? Or is that
yeah. It looks like the one that they used to ride on the Laugh Olympics.
Well, no, I just picture that being like, the black one from like the 20s or 30s Prohibition.
Yeah.
I just picture two guys get out with a Tommy gun and hose us down. Some mobsters from the Prohibition days.
Rockstar is not with us because he is on tour right now. And he joins us from the road. Rocky, what's up, man? How are you?
Morning, guys. What I miss? Everything good?
We're doing great. You haven't really missed a whole lot. We are live at World of Wheels. We had a good show today.
Did the special guest up today?
The special guest showed today and had one of the worst phone connections you have ever heard. I heard about 30% of the interview.
Yeah.
Was the 30% good?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, I really didn't hear 30%. It sounded like he had some interesting things to say.
I think it would have been a good interview.
But I got no idea.
Yeah.
You know, I'll be honest, Rockstar, I was the one that probably disliked those kind of guests the most.
Oh, okay.
And I found him entertaining. I mean, listening through the static, it was like listening to something AM radio after you power down the channel. Is what it was like. But I listened, and I thought he was very entertaining. He was engaged. We were told ahead of his interview what word could we not say to him.
Chrysanthemum.
No, dynamite was what we could not say to him. Yeah.
You don't be associated with what you're associated with. That's all.
Yeah.
You know, I think you guys might be on the same mic.
Well, I think it's just
me?
hot. No, I think it's hot in our headset. I think you sound fine. Lunsford can let me know that. But hey, do you? Did I hear the band playing in the background? Is that what I just heard? Crank back up.
We just finished sound checking Pearl Jam, and now they are sound checking Nirvana. So it's not
9 this morning. Yeah.
Well, we got here about a 9.5 hour drive from Charleston. So it's been a long day.
Okay, before we continue with this, can I just ask, Are you using a voice activated microphone of any kind? Because you're cutting in and out a bit. So
Well, I think it's the band.
I'm using my phone. I don't have any equipment.
I think it's the band in the background is the big problem there. The Nirvana. All right, we had somebody that said they're going to be at the show tonight. They're looking forward to seeing you in Charleston. Josh said that earlier. So he's looking forward to seeing you tonight. We've had 2 people that are going to see you in Dallas. One wants a shirt. So remind us, Rockstar, we got to send a shirt with you to Dallas for one of our viewers. And one of them said he's going to wear his TNR hat to the show.
We had a guy in Pensacola last night that was a huge fan of the show. He said he was almost going to wear his trash shirt. He decided not to do it. But
yeah, so he thought about it for a second, didn't do it. We got some photos. So were you sold out in Pensacola last night?
If not, I think we were damn near close to it. And I don't know about tonight because this is a smaller venue, but I'm really excited. It's the only show I'm excited about that.
Yeah, only Pearl Jam show you're doing, and then you'll be back to Fleetwood Mac in Johnson City, right?
Correct. Tennessee tomorrow.
Tennessee tomorrow. What's the drive like from Charleston to Johnson City?
I think it's 5 hours by bus, 5.5 hours.
Oh, that's not as bad as I would have
So
thought.
we're
Much
cutting it in
longer.
half. We'll be sleeping the whole time, but still, it's still a bus, and you're in motion. When you're trying to sleep, you're in your coffin, bouncing back and forth.
Yeah.
Do you get nervous about forgetting the words tonight?
No, no. This is the one show I don't stress out about. This is the one.
I'm kidding. Hey, has anybody? I know Rogoff is a perfectionist. That's the way Black Jacket is supposed to be. Has anybody that you know of ever gotten tripped up and forgotten a word?
Yeah, it's happened all the time.
Okay.
It happens like, well, Jess and I sometimes screw up a lyric and stuff like that, do a duet. One of us commits.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's just to understand. I mean, it happens to the best of them. Like I saw Garth Brooks right over here at Protective Stadium. He was doing a Skinner set, and he messed up the words to Sweet Home Alabama. Now, I know that's not his song, but I mean, it's something he prepared for. But he had the wrong lyrics.
And he laughed it off. He said, of course, if I'm going to forget the lyrics of one song, this is the place I forget the lyrics to that song.
Just Sweet Home Alabama. I mean, of all the places, right?
Well, it all becomes so much muscle memory that you kind of have a brain fart sometimes, and you kind of like draw on autopilot sometimes, and then you skip.
Yeah. All right. So tonight in Charleston, tomorrow night in Johnson City, Tennessee, and then is it
Birmingham.
Friday night? Yeah, Friday night in Birmingham. I've got tickets. Dunaway's got tickets.
Yep.
I think Lance is going to get tickets.
I've got a 50th birthday party Friday night I've got to go to.
Oh, okay.
Hey, hats off to Maggie Dunaway. Hats off to Maggie Dunaway, Rockstar, because if you ever go see Black Jacket Symphony here in town, they have the great opportunity as you leave the arena to go ahead and buy tickets for the next show.
Right.
And you get really good seats doing that. So I almost pulled the trigger. The only thing that kept me from pulling the trigger on buying secondary market, because it was where I wanted to sit, they were $264 a pop.
Yeah, they were expensive
Woo!
on Ticketmaster.
Where I was going to buy them, but they were up close to you. You're going to have to look at me all night. But it was $264 a pop, and I didn't buy them because I need to ask Maggie first if she wants to go. And I get home before I can remember to ask her. She goes, "Hey, we're going to see Rockstar. I bought tickets when I was leaving last time, and we've got really good seats." And I said, God, you're an angel. So I'm so excited. It's fantastic.
Good. I'm glad you guys are going. And happy birthday to the 50th.
Rocky, really, it's Chief's 50th birthday party.
Oh, it's Chief?
Yeah, and I talked to him Chief.
Huge Fleetwood Mac fan.
Yeah, well, yeah. But I talked to him this morning, and I thought it was a surprise party because his wife sent me the invitation. I didn't realize he knew about it. But, I mean, I've known Chief since 1980. So
yeah, it's going to be hard.
I love you.
Yeah.
I've seen you do it before. I've got to be there.
It's okay. I won't cry that much. It's fine. It's whatever.
What Fleetwood Mac song has been getting the biggest crowd reaction?
It's more of a surprise, so I don't want to give it away. But this one,
you didn't. You did not give it away because your mic cut out there.
Yeah,
say it again. What is it?
It's once. There's one song that we do that gives it. That's gotten the crowd on their feet every time. I would say 90%.
Well, I hear from people who've seen the show that when you actually bring out Stevie Nicks to sing Landslide with you two, it really is blows people away.
Well, it's great, Dunaway. I don't sing on Landslide. I'm not on stage.
You're playing tambourine then.
That was a vintage Dunaway move right there.
It's got to be the chain, right?
That's a great song too. But that's on the album. So this is in the second set. So when this song,
Well,
So you have
then obviously it has to be when you two sing "Shallow" in the shallow.
that is a good one. Yeah, that's probably one of our biggest because it's a surprise that everybody's like, "Damn, they're doing stuff from A Star Is Born."
I didn't know Fleetwood Mac did in the Shallows.
Or do you guys do Ludacris's Fantasy?
Yes.
That's a duet.
That's one of those ones that has an asterisk, like just in case if we have extra time in the credit.
Can you see Rockstar? I wanna lick it from your head to your toes.
And what's great is Ben, the guitarist, and I have heard of the song WAP, but we never heard the actual song.
No.
So we heard it for the first time. So it's a different song.
Hey, so summer of
Your first time
2020.
hearing WAP? Yeah, WAP for the first time. That was an eye opener, I would have
Yeah,
imagined.
We were
summer
at
of
a-
2020. True story though, Rocky. It was playing at my pool, and I have to do a dead sprint because the remote had gone
Turn it
out.
up. To turn it up.
Oh my god! I had to do a dead sprint. I'd never heard it before. I was like, "Holy shit! What is this?" But
We were at-
that might be the filthiest song in the history of songs.
We were at a bar in Lexington, and that came on, and there was probably like 30 college girls just word for word singing that song. Super uncomfortable.
Yeah, I mean, when did that come out? 2011, maybe
No.
2010.
Oh,
No,
no.
it was 2020.
Yeah, 2020.
Oh, different one.
Different one. There's
Different
If
one.
you want to go, if you want to go, my neck, my crack.
there's never been another WAP.
Yeah,
I
keep
mean.
That one's just as bad because I've been in college bars and boy, that is just disturbing. That's why I've come to the point when my daughter is legal, I can't be even close to a college bar because I can't imagine seeing my daughter.
What are
or
you
her friends
doing
in that
here?
situation.
Dad!
I got that from Jimmy Anthony's daughter earlier this year.
We
in
did.
Tuscaloosa.
Yep. I was with him for that one, believe it or not. Lance and I were in and it really wasn't even, there were older people than us in there. That's what's crazy about
Yeah,
it.
we were at a Budweiser promotion.
That's right. It was with Budweiser, to be
we were
fair.
at the booth and we were just standing against the bar, but she came up and she's like, "What are y'all doing
I
here?"
mean,
and then she escaped and went to the other side of the bar.
yeah, legitimately, we're in Tuscaloosa. We've gone to dinner. Dunaway did not feel well, so he went back to the place we were staying.
No, I literally said, "Where are we going?" Y'all told me the bar we were going to. I said, "That is 100% a college bar. I'm going back to the house."
Our friends with Bud Light were doing an event at the booth, so we went to support them. And to our defense, there was an NFL game on. It was Denver. It was that Thursday night awful Denver game, Denver and Indianapolis, I believe. And we go in there, and there are older people than us in there. And here comes a girl we know her family, and she walks in and she's like, "What are y'all doing here?" And
No, but majority, Rocky, we're like 20 or 21.
well,
and
sure, we're in a college town.
this dude, he comes in, he posts up next to me and he looks at me. He's like, "Hey, brother, you want some cocaine?" And I was like, "No, I'm good."
brother.
And he goes, "You're a little old to be in here, aren't you?" And I was
After
like,
the
"Yeah."
altar,
I said, "Probably so." And he
I
goes,
like how we offered it first.
Yeah.
he looked at my shoes. He goes, "I like you trying to stay young with those high tops." So
I love it.
I got the same thing at the Finnick, here in town. I was actually with LT, and a guy was talking crap to me because I was the oldest guy in the bar at this point. And he started talking shit. So I quickly told him, I said, "Well, to be honest with you, I'm here because I own the freaking place. If you'd like to stay, then back the heck up."
Dunaway.
here we go. It's Friday.
Dunaway.
Wow, rolling wheels.
No. Yeah, Dunaway needs more brake fluid here at the World of Wheels.
He's the one he hadn't even been drinking.
I know. All right, Rockstar. So tonight in Charleston, tomorrow night, Johnson City, Tennessee. If you're watching us, they're probably a sellout. Back to Fleetwood Bank tomorrow night, Pearl Jam and Nirvana tonight. And then if you want to buy tickets on the secondary market, go see them Friday night here in Birmingham at the BJCC Concert Hall for the Fleetwood Mac show. Have a good show tonight. We'll see you back Monday.
Break a leg, Rocky. Good luck.
Thank you guys. You guys have a great show tonight. There's a point like that. There we go.
All right.
You
All
guys
right.
have a good night. I love you.
Bye. Love you too. Love you too. Good night. That is Rockstar.
Can I go to the bathroom?
Oh, 100%.
You may. You don't have to. You don't have to get a hall pass.
I know. I mean,
I'm gonna have to go when you get back.
yeah,
So
what
get
I'm saying, most people don't notice, when we do one of these live shows, it probably escapes them that we don't have any commercial breaks.
right.
And so it's hard to do 2 straight hours with my bladder.
I would say it'd be more impressive if you take the empty cup, pull
Oh.
it down, and then set it back up here.
I don't.
That
wanna
would be old school. Don't they do that when they're filibustering in?
Well, yeah, the guy that's
state
doing the
government.
filibuster can't leave.
Right.
So
I have not pissed in a cup since the 280 fiasco.
you know what? I have never done it. That is
Seriously?
something I have never. Well, I mean, I've done it for like a.
That's right. You're both
a
are lying
test.
because you've done it for insurance.
I've
just
done it for
recently.
insurance, but I'm talking about in the specimen cup. I have never been in a situation where I've had to fill up a cup and dump it out.
Yeah, like I think I could fill this whole cup up right now.
Oh, I don't doubt it. What is that? A 16-ounce cup?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. You shouldn't even try that.
I think I told you guys I was going to Athens with the roommate, and she was driving. I was
Athens, Georgia, right?
Yeah,
Not
having a
Auburn,
couple of
okay.
beers, but I didn't realize once we got to that straightaway before you hit the town,
Yep.
it was bumper to bumper. We were going in for Tennessee, Georgia weekend. It was Friday night,
Old Georgia Highway.
and I was about to die. So I
Atlanta
decided to try to pee into a bottle. Disaster.
Oh, everywhere.
Piss on the dashboard,
Oh,
all over
yeah.
my pants.
Yeah, that's a good smell.
And that
too.
was back when I didn't have patience. You know,
Uh-huh.
I've calmed that a little bit over
yeah,
the years.
yeah.
I had a complete meltdown.
Always wonder why Bo likes it when I turn in my car before you.
You should have smelled the last one Lance turned in. I mean, I
wiped the dash down.
I've gone, as a kid, I've gone like side of the road, go over by the woods. I've done that. But, I mean, for the most part, you got enough service stations now. I mean,
Go to the bathroom.
it's hard to miss.
I'm going. I'll bring this one thing up because we had dinner Monday night with our friends that were actually at the Eagles in San Fran, the championship game. And they said that Eagles fans just piss in front of everyone of their tailgate. And they said the girls will just squat in the parking lot.
I talked to one of those people after dinner the next day, and he said, we cleaned that story up. He goes, you really wouldn't believe the scene.
Yeah.
He goes, we cleaned that story up because we were at dinner, that basically the Eagles fans at their tailgate just go anywhere. And then when the tailgate is over,
Right.
they just dump it in the parking lot.
Yeah, the P lot is where they
Oh,
were.
yeah.
But it was the letter P, not the bathroom.
I've thought about that because Orlovsky talked about being in the P lot, and I wonder, is it the letter P or do they legit mean the P lot? Or is that just the running joke?
It may just be the running joke.
Probably the running joke. You guys didn't come to birthday party we had at the beach this year, but somebody's wife, they would start drinking vodka early in the morning, but she would just squat on the beach.
I've seen people do that. Yeah.
I mean, I can't.
Through the bathroom, the bikini bottom.
Yeah, I mean, she
Yeah.
would just squat on the beach. And I was like, what are you doing over there?
Laying an egg.
They
But I've dug a hole.
Well,
They
why
dig
did
a
you-
hole?
I've dug the hole during like spring break because the water's too cold. It's Titanic.
Well, yeah.
So I just lay on my stomach and yeah.
Like
It's a better option. I'm not getting that cold ass water.
I just love this beach a lot. A lot.
It's like
A lot.
it's like the police just say, "Get down."
I mean, you think about it. Every one of
Somewhere-
us outside of Dunaway has pissed in a pool, so you're peeing through your bathing suit anyway.
That's right. That's a good point.
LT spring break. He digs the hole, lays, you know what, into the hole to pee there. Meanwhile, somewhere in China, they're coming down out of the ceiling in China is LT. Now it's peeing.
I got it. I got it.
Dug the hole a
Yeah.
little
Yeah, but
too
you
deep.
never.
got it.
I mean, you leave
Very
your
Bugs Bunny
bathing
cartoon.
suit on and you pee through it.
Oh, you leave the bathing suit on?
Well, hell yeah, you're gonna pee into sand.
I thought you were
get
raw-
some sand in
Oh,
your
Dunaway,
junk.
do you know how bad that
dug
would be?
the hole deep enough that you were raw dogging
My
it into
God.
the hole?
That away.
Yeah, you get sand in that thing.
Yeah.
We got some issues.
Maybe he needs a beer, Lance. Maybe he needs a beer.
Okay, so I'm gonna go to the bathroom. I'm gonna get a little tea to get us some beers. Do you want one or not?
I do not want to be.
Okay.
No.
I'll be back.
All right. So
All right,
LT's
let's go
back in
back.
a second.
Let's reset all the breaking news here, Dunaway. I'll reset where we are. We've got about 40 minutes to go in the show.
Only 40 more minutes?
Only 40 more minutes. We are live at the World of Wheels, which is at the BJCC Convention Hall. You can see behind us, especially now that Lance has gotten up, some of the cars that are back there behind us at the World of Wheels. I mean, trucks, cars, motorcycles, and they are creatively displayed. I mean, if you turn around and look, it's really cool. They've got some of the hoods open where you can see, all the inner workings and stuff like that. It is. If you love cars, this is where you need to be. And as I said earlier, with Lance and his son Jack and his nephew, it's great for kids. Absolutely fantastic for kids. Thompson Square is about an hour and a half or so away. They're going to be singing right over here, just over my right shoulder. They had the #1 hit. What was the name of the song back in 2016?
Are you going to kiss me now?
Are you going to kiss me now? Thompson Square.
Husband and wife team.
husband and wife team. So Thompson Square going to sing that. They are here tonight. They're going to do a 30-minute concert, and then they're going to sign autographs and take photos after that. Tomorrow, the Iron Resurrection people are going to be here. They're going to be doing the same thing. And then Jimmy Walker, who was on our show today, will be here on Sunday. He'll be taking photos, signing autographs. Come see JJ from Good Times, Jimmy Walker, right here at the World of Wheels. You can get all that information, worldofwheels.net, worldofwheels.net. It's the O'Reilly Auto Parts World of Wheels. Tickets, any Birmingham area O'Reilly Auto Parts. Thank you for joining us on YouTube. Give us a thumbs up. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. Set your alerts. If you're watching us on social media, please share us. Just fire off a retweet or a share on Facebook. Gives us a thumbs up there as well. We started the show right as we were going live at 3 o'clock. Breaking news in the college football world.
Alabama and Tommy Rees have agreed to a deal to make Rees the Crimson Tide's new offensive coordinator. Tommy Rees is 30 years old. He has spent the past 6 seasons at Notre Dame. The last 3, he has been the offensive coordinator there. One of the interesting things we got into is the fact that the coach who recruited now Alabama quarterback Ty Simpson when he was in high school, the guy recruiting him, trying to get him to commit to Notre Dame, was Tommy Rees. So Tommy Rees liked Ty Simpson a lot. Now, you can play it the other side. Ty Simpson did not pick Notre Dame.
That is a good point, but it may not have been only be Tommy Rees, obviously.
Yeah. So, but he picks Alabama. So that is one of 2 coordinators that Nick Saban has to hire. The defensive coordinator position is open. Part of the reason that is still open is some people's presumed favorite, Todd Grantham, has a different job, Brown. And for that, you have that story.
I do, Jim. Thank you. Todd Grantham, according to Chris Lowe, has accepted a spot on the New Orleans Saints coaching staff. So he will not be the Alabama defensive coordinator now. Chris Lowe's report, and he has been with us very closely. If you'll remember, some of you might have missed it, but Chris was with us on the show talking about all the coordinator searches, and he brought up Todd Grantham's name for Alabama and said, obviously he's an analyst. He's known Nick Saban a very long time. He's coached with Saban before. And when I tell you the Vulcan Tire and Automotive chat room melted down, buddy, it melted down. Alabama fans did not like that suggestion from Chris Lowe at all. So Chris has been kind of on top of this one for a little bit, and he's reporting today that Todd Grantham is on his way to the Saints. And, Jim, I think you can surmise from that whether it's Jeremy Pruitt or not, because there was this thought that Todd Grantham was the insurance plan, right? That Jeremy Pruitt is who Nick Saban really wants, and you can chase Jeremy Pruitt knowing if I can't work it out, if I can't get it cleared by Greg Sankey or the NCAA or whatever, I have got Todd Grantham to fall back on. That's out the window, but it tells me that Grantham knows he's not getting the gig. I don't think he goes to the Saints if he thinks there's any chance he's Bama's DC.
I agree. So I think that means they have a DC
that he thinks will take the job,
yeah,
or get offered the job.
Yeah.
It may not be Pruitt, but I think Grantham knows it's not going to be me.
I think they have been slow playing this, hoping that the NCAA in Tennessee, that case comes to an end, and where you stand with Jeremy Pruitt at that point as far as NCAA sanctions and things like that.
Now, the date I have heard on all of that is February 15th. I believe his appearance before the NCAA committees is sometime around there. And perhaps they will get some sort of guidance from the NCAA where all of that stands with Pruitt. But I think you can safely say that Todd Grantham knew he was not getting the gig. So he's at the Saints today.
Yeah. So that is 2 big stories. Another story that we talked about a lot today was Nate Oates' contract, of course. Auburn got another basketball recruit, a 4-star guard from Baker. Auburn's gotten a 4-star quarterback recruit today, which is a major deal. You're used to, at this point, great recruiting by Bruce Pearl, right? That comes with the territory. But in football terms, maybe the first Hugh Freeze fingerprint on the Auburn offense is 4-star quarterback Walker White, who commits to Auburn today, and he picks Auburn over Clemson, who Garrett Riley was recruiting him, the new OC, and over Ole Miss, and Lane Kiffin himself was recruiting the kid. Walker White picks Auburn today, which is likely the quarterback of the future for the Auburn Tigers.
Yeah, I think you can safely say that it's a guy that Freeze liked, so this is kind of the first guy that's got Freeze fingerprints on him. I do want to go back to the Nate Oates thing. I find the most interesting part of this is not only the buyout, which is now back up to $12 million, but Nate Oates' comments afterwards. I've seen coaches say stuff like this and later leave. I think it makes it harder to do that. But for him to say, hey, look, we weren't going anywhere, but this is now going to take those rumors off the table. I think that probably gave Alabama fans a lot of comfort there, because I'm sure in the back of their mind, some thought, Texas could make a run at him at the end of this year. If, Kentucky, if Cal leaves, Kentucky can make a run at him. Michigan State, hey, those schools can still make a run, and maybe they'll pay $12 million. I don't know. But I think when you see Nate Oates saying that, it probably gives you a certain sense of comfort as a Bama fan.
I think Nate Oates knows in his head if there are certain jobs, whether it's Michigan State or Kentucky, that he would take. Bottom line is now with SEC money, with Big Ten money, these guys never have to leave. I mean, one example is, and I always said it from the start, Mark Stoops getting the job at Kentucky. Once he has an opportunity to get out, he will get out.
And he hasn't.
I
don't know what kind of opportunities he's had, but he hasn't gotten out.
He's making a lot of money, and he's doing at least stuff that coaches over the last half century haven't been able to do at Kentucky.
Yeah, I mean, Nate Oates is making top 10 money in America. And the schools that you would assume could come get him are the ones that are paying their coaches more, right? I mean, in the event, and there's no connection, and there's no reason, I'm just using this as an example. In the event Bill Self left Kansas, to go to the NBA or whatever, if Kansas comes calling, that's something you got to consider. You can't not consider that. Kentucky, Michigan State, those are the ones that are paying more. Auburn is paying a little bit more. I think Tennessee is paying a little bit more. But you quickly get to where Alabama is now paying Nate Oates. And, if it's about money, Alabama's paying top 10 money now for their college basketball coach. I mean, think about that.
I don't know how you guys feel, but as long as I've got a really good fan base that is behind the product and I'm making as much money as I need to make, I would rather be at a place that it's never been done. That's why I've always said Dabo Swinney's not going to leave Clemson, because he's doing things it's never been done at Clemson. Wimp was a great coach at Alabama, but it was just Sweet 16 and stop. And now Nate Oates ultimately he can go down as the greatest coach. I think some people would already consider him the greatest coach in Alabama basketball history. I know C.M. Newton was right there.
C.M. Newton and Wimp Sanders.
Yeah.
I mean, those are.
No, but I'm saying, he's got an opportunity.
Yeah, he's got an opportunity for sure. And coaches are driven different than us, because I kind of look at it like you do, Lance. Like, I'm making, we never, there are bigger markets than Birmingham when we were in radio. Bigger TV markets and bigger radio markets. We never we were making good money doing what we were doing in radio. There was a certain sense of comfort. We had our family here. We never, there were people that sent out feelers, but we never really chased anything outside of Birmingham.
No, but there were a couple of times, one TV wise for me in Tampa. And then I think there was never any interviews or anything, but, Nashville at one point. In Atlanta, we asked some questions about, not that we were wanting to leave, but we asked some financial questions when we were doing our contract negotiation.
Yeah, there were some openings, and those openings, there might have been some feelers there, and we were like, well, what's the money look like?
Yeah, what's the money look like in Atlanta or Nashville?
Yeah, that's right.
To be bigger markets, and we found out we're already making more money than that. So quickly our interest went, well, we're not interested in those two jobs.
Right.
No, but in 2005, and I've told this story before, Doug Gottlieb, who was doing ESPN at that time, reached out to me and wanted me to send tapes to ESPN. And, I was talking to my then wife, and I was like, even if I was given the opportunity, there's zero chance I would leave Birmingham. First of all, I love the market. I like being kind of wired up and knowing a lot of different people. And the funny thing is, and we've told the story before, I sent the tapes, and they heard Tony Curry on there, and they invited him up. I just wanted the invite to Bristol,
right,
just to check out the campus.
But I guess the point I was getting at is,
and my point was, I was never going to leave anyway.
Yeah, coaches are driven differently. Nate Oates says he loves Tuscaloosa. I take him at his word that his family, my kids have moved enough. My family likes it here. It's not always about getting the Kentucky job or the Kansas job or the Michigan State job. Sometimes, I think what changes it is for Bruce Pearl, for instance. A lot of people would say, well, you need to go to such and such better program. Well, Bruce Pearl is getting lottery picks at Auburn.
Yeah.
He just got a big 5-star recruit at Auburn, one of the top recruits he's got at Auburn.
From New Jersey. It's not even like from Georgia or Alabama.
He's going to a Final Four at Auburn. He's got tremendous fan support. They sell out every single game they play.
Yeah, put
Brand new arena,
2 NBA first-round draft picks last year.
new facility. So explain to me why you go somewhere else.
Yeah.
And Nate Oates is building that in Tuscaloosa. Nate Oates is about to have a lottery pick, right? He's done that before. He's about to have another lottery pick. He went and got Brandon Miller from Antioch, Tennessee. So he's recruiting stud players from places that aren't in your own backyard. We'll see what he does with this season, but certainly Alabama's got a Final Four level team. Now, the one thing he doesn't have that I just ran down the list of Bruce Pearl is the new arena, and Alabama's going to address that. But my point is, you used to have to leave Alabama or Auburn to do those things. You don't have to do that anymore.
And that's what's funny. You know, we talk a lot about new arena and how the price of that has probably doubled since when Alabama first, announced the initiative to do some more renovations to Bryant-Denny Stadium, to build a new basketball arena, to build a new golf facility, and those prices have almost doubled now. Think about the salary, too. LT brought the point up. Nate Oates has now doubled his salary since he's been there. $5 million is $1 million more dollars than Nick Saban got when he came from the NFL to Alabama, when everyone told us the college football model will implode because Alabama just gave Nick Saban $4 million a year to coach football at Alabama. And now the basketball coach is making $5 million.
No, it's crazy. It really is. But I guess my point was going to be, like, some people think, people just think differently. I've never been one like, could we have worked in a top 10 market? I have no idea. But I had zero interest in chasing that.
Yeah.
Like, something. And a lot of people think the word content is a bad word. And I don't know if I'm content. Obviously, I'm not. I mean,
no, you're more complacent. I'm kidding.
What we did,
don't care.
I don't really care, Lance. What we did 18 months ago was as big a gamble as we could take, right? So, I mean, that's far from complacency.
You know what?
But it is, right? I mean, that's not complacency. But my point is, just because you like where you live and like where you work and you feel like you're making enough money doesn't make you complacent or content. It makes you like where you are. So maybe that's Nate Oates.
What's really funny about what we did back in 2021, like, we knew we were taking a risk, right?
Oh, shoot, yeah.
I mean, we knew that. But in hindsight, it never felt like as big of a risk as other people in the industry tell us it was. They come up, we can't believe, you guys bettered yourself. That was amazing.
Yeah, that made me double.
Yeah, I know.
Whoa, time was it really that risky?
Yeah, when I hear them say that, I'm like, boy, from the inside, as we were all doing it together, it didn't seem as risky because we were all doing it together.
I had somebody that works in the TV industry tell me, just out of the blue one day, he goes, what y'all did was one of the ballsiest moves I've ever seen in media. And I was like, really? I mean, this is early on, too. I'm like, I didn't feel that way when we were doing it. I just got to be honest with you.
Because we were all doing it together.
I knew there was a gamble, but I didn't feel like in those terms that it was.
Yeah. I mean, I know it's stupid. But I just felt like, well, crap, if it fails, we'll all still be together, and we'll just do the next thing together.
Yeah, the next round.
You know what I'm saying? I just felt like whatever.
I mean, there was some of that, but at the same time, I felt like the team we had put together, it was going to be really difficult to not have success.
Yeah, I agree. I had confidence in our group.
Yeah, look, we could still have another pandemic. I mean, this thing could quickly come off the rails at any point, but up until this point, it's gone better than I even thought.
Yeah,
right, and that was my point, Lance. I just felt like that if it had not worked, well, we're all together, and we felt like we were such a good team that we would have gone and done something else.
We could Jonestown it together.
We could.
Well, that's what Lunsford said. We'll all be homeless together.
No, I just thought, hell, we'd be the best Sea-Doo salesman and parachute rides at the Gulf Coast. We'd be down there the next round, Sea-Doo rides or whatever. We just rent those things out.
Troy asked
those chairs up for all the vacationers.
Troy asked this: how do you measure your ratings versus what you were doing on radio? That's the thing. There's really no apples to apples comparison. Radio ratings are done. They're on a diary basis, and basically what you do now, like today in radio, you find out a month from now. Was it good? Was it bad? I don't know. We're getting immediate results, which can be good, can be bad.
Yeah.
I mean, you can focus on those things way too much, but we see audience size. It is like radio. So here's how I explain it. People.
Explain the diaries to them because they don't understand that. But ours is hard numbers. You may see a number on our video stream here. We've got 4 video streams. We have all the audio platforms. So all those numbers together go back to one person listening on radio. We've got that on different platforms.
Yeah. So radio in Birmingham is a diary market. So Arbitron Nielsen now used to be Arbitron mails you in the mail a book, and they ask you to keep up with what you listen to, a diary for a full week. So,
and think about it like this: have you ever had a diary sent to you?
I
I don't
not.
know anybody that has.
Yeah,
so it's really an inexact science. The way I gauged our old radio days, and I'll let you finish your point, was feedback I would get out in the community.
Yeah, that was far more important to me.
And still, I mean, we do have hard analytics that Lunsford takes care of, and we've got those hard numbers, so we know exactly who's listening, when they're listening, where they're listening. But I still gauge a lot of it on people feedback and then also seeing our gear all over the place, which is really cool.
But the way the radio diary works is, all right, 6 to 6:15, what'd you listen to? Right. 6:15 to 6:30, what'd you listen to?
Right.
So I had to go in and I had to write it down, right? So, I mean, it is an antiquated way of doing it. I am not going to pretend like we didn't benefit from it. We did.
No, we did.
We benefited greatly from it.
And there's only like 500 diaries sent out.
Yeah, it's a sample size, right?
Yeah. And same way with TV before it became the meter market. But even the meter market, there's only so many meters out there. So you're taking, demographics, 10 people who are this demographic, 10 people who are this demographic.
Yeah.
And it's whatever they watch on television, those 10 people, and they do a math problem to tell you the ratings at night. Or in this case, a diary, a book coming back. First of all, you got to remember to fill it out. And then secondly, you got to remember to mail it back in.
That's right.
And a lot of people just don't send them back in. So they were never really real numbers, but we benefited from them. So we love those numbers.
We killed it in the ratings. I'm not going to pretend like we didn't say, hey, those ratings are accurate. Look at how good our audience is. Yes. I mean, they are pretty.
And we'll take those bonuses.
That's right. Carson says, I got a diary coming in a week or so. They're paying me money, and they have $5. They have to do that. They have to ensure they get a certain sample size from every demographic. So in some demographics, if they don't get a good response, they got to say, well, would you do it for $5 or whatever? So that's how that works. So what we needed in radio was for you to listen to us live. And if ever asked, you were like, yes, I am listening at this point live. We are doing a totally different model here. We would love for you to listen to us live 9 to 1 every day. But really, we just want you to listen to us.
Anytime.
Whenever you can do it, we appreciate you doing it.
We get as much credit if you listen to us at 1 in the morning or 1 in the afternoon. Doesn't matter.
So it is not, it's a totally different thing. We're just looking at a total audience versus are you listening to us 7 o'clock? So,
and what would be awesome, this was really impossible in radio days, but share us with people that would like the show, even in other markets.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And that's the other thing is we're not limited to Birmingham. Birmingham's huge for us. We love Birmingham. We just talked about how we would not choose to move from here, but you can listen and watch this thing anywhere, obviously. And we appreciate people doing that. So there you go. Oh, wow. Look at Troy. He adds, I turn the app on at night as I fall asleep just to let it play. So we put Troy to sleep, guys.
Wow.
Samuel says,
I'll take that as a compliment. Yes. Thank you, Troy.
Samuel says, guys, I'm actually listening to this from the future. So see, Samuel, he's part of the future.
Help me out with tomorrow's card. I've been hot in college basketball. But
we got any lines out yet for tomorrow? Can I look?
I mean,
Purdue's -1.5. I know that. I've got him giving 3.5 for a steak.
It will be bigger than 1.5. Trust me on that. It will be larger than 1.5. I don't know how Lunsford gets these numbers with his site because I've got multiple sites. And they don't post college basketball until overnight.
I think Lunsford was just using our friends at mybookie.ag.
Mybookie.ag.
They're not going to have Saturday numbers up.
They don't have Saturday numbers up yet?
I wouldn't think.
I saw some limited Saturday numbers.
It's Blockbuster Saturday. Surely the numbers are out.
Where are you going, Dunaway? You going to
I'm gonna go to Scores and
Odds?
You're not going to find them.
Lance says you are wasting your time. I saw some tweeted. Hang on, I'll get a few. They were limited, Lance, but I saw some. All right, here we go. This is from a guy I follow that does a lot of golf odds. Jeff Sherman is his name. Jeff Sherman. So he was tweeting out some of the college basketball odds, and he may have deleted that tweet because now I can't find them.
See, we were getting those odds way before the NFL script.
I mean, I can pretty much tell you what the number's going to be. I was off on Auburn. I did say 2 days ago I thought it would be like 6.5. Lunsford said it was 9.5. I told Dunaway.
Here we go. I got him.
It was 4.5.
Yep.
I think 9.5 is too heavy for
this.
Tennessee.
These are DraftKings odds. MyBookie.ag is where you go play these. Code next round.
Give me the game. Let me see if I can get these.
Purdue at Indiana.
I think it is going to be Purdue 3.5.
1.5. That's where it opened. K-State versus Texas.
K-State.
Now K-State's got an injury, right? Am I right? Okay, go ahead.
I don't know.
Anyway.
K-State at Texas. I would say.
No, I think it's K-State hosting Texas.
Oh,
if I'm
okay.
not mistaken. I think it's in the Little Apple.
Then K-State would be a 2.5-point favorite.
1 point favorite. That's
Okay.
a skinny number at home, right?
Yep.
Iowa is hosting Illinois.
Interesting story why you think of that, LT, is that Illinois students had done a fundraiser, a big group of students there to raise money for local charities, and the top 200 producers got tickets to go to the game in Iowa, and they'd rented buses and everything. Iowa saw that they came from Champaign, Illinois. They canceled those tickets because they didn't want 200 people sitting together from Illinois cheering for the visiting team. And Illinois students are very upset about that.
I would be too. I would say 3.
Iowa is favored 2.5 in that game. I'm going to come back to Tennessee Auburn. I'll do it last. Oak State TCU in Stillwater.
In Stillwater, I will say that this is going to be a picket.
It is Oak State -1. Very
Okay.
close. Kansas is at Iowa State. Kansas in Ames.
Oh, man, this is tricky because Kansas has lost 3 of their last 5. I will say that Kansas is going to be a skinny road favorite. I would lay 2 with Kansas.
I'd go 1.5.
Kansas a pick 'em at Iowa State. So that's a little
1.5 is
closer
where I
to-
have them here.
Virginia, this is where they open. This is about 3 hours ago. Virginia is at Virginia Tech. So it's the Commonwealth Cup. They're in Blacksburg.
Virginia is going to be 3.5.
Pick 'em.
Wow.
Look at that.
Virginia Tech is scrappy, though.
Rutgers is taking on Michigan State. This game is, by the way, at Madison Square Garden for some reason.
I would go Michigan State 2.5.
Oh, Rutgers -4.
Yeah, Rutgers.
Wow.
Rutgers favorite.
I mean, they're good. I just
Yeah.
thought that Michigan State brand on a neutral court.
Right now, Rutgers 15-7 record, also 15-7 against the spread.
And by the way, Tennessee and Auburn in Knoxville.
Again, I would have thought it was 6, 6.5.
Vols 9.5.
That's a big number.
Yeah, as Lunsford points out, he had these numbers earlier for you to just listen.
Yeah.
No, we did.
We
I
did.
just didn't believe it.
Kentucky listed at 4 over Florida. Total of 136.5 in that one, by the way.
That number surprises me a little bit.
Is that game in Gainesville?
It's in Rupp.
In Rupp, and it's only 4?
Oh, wow.
Yep.
Wow, that is
That's-
a low number.
That's why that number surprises me a little bit. But Florida's hot. They're 6-3, and they're trending well. That's a team FAU beat, who UAB beat last night. I did want to get to this before we start winding down and telling you more about the world of wills.
19 minutes to go.
Okay. The discussion of Texas and Oklahoma leaving early, and that how the negotiations hit a standstill right now. Ross Dellinger is reporting one of the holdups, of course, is television rights. If you don't know the story, 99-year agreement in 2012 for all Big 12 schools to give their rights over to the Big 12. You have to leave the conference. You have to give 2-year exit fees of gross revenue, about $80 million each there. They are actually fighting or discussing, sort of playing a game of chess on, well, if they leave early, we want these broadcast rights, or we want these broadcast rights. And that is where the discussion is. Under their current Big 12 agreement, Fox broadcasts 4 games a year from Texas and Oklahoma. The network would need to be compensated for the loss of those 8 games, says the Fox president. If you're not going to pay us for those 8 games, 4
Told you.
4 Texas, 4 Oklahoma,
Yep.
we can't agree to letting them out of it.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I told you earlier today. I just had a feeling that it was Fox and ESPN, that Fox is basically saying, all right, we did these Big 12 rights with Texas and Oklahoma in the league. We're not getting those games now, so y'all got to pay us some money.
Fox,
I mean, it's a legitimate argument.
No,
on
it
their
makes
point.
sense,
Yeah.
and that's what the sources from Fox is telling Dellinger is the only people that are going to be harmed by all of this is Fox.
That's right.
Because Fox has a media rights deal with the Big 12.
And no SEC rights, so they don't get
Right.
any Texas, Oklahoma.
And ESPN has a media rights deal with the
Yep.
Big 12. But
They've got SEC rights.
ESPN has SEC,
That's right.
so they're keeping Texas and Oklahoma. So either you've got to give us access to Texas and Oklahoma SEC games over the next 2 years, or you've got to pay us for SEC for those games.
You know what would seem like a reasonable solution to this is, and I say this when I don't have any money involved, is let Fox air the Red River rivalry. That's their big game in the Big 12. That's the one they always want, right? And I know ABC's aired it in the past, ABC, ESPN. That doesn't feel like an SEC game to me. If Alabama is hosting Texas or Auburn's hosting Oklahoma, that's going to feel like an SEC game. But the Red River game still feels like a Big 12 game, you know?
Yeah, I would agree.
Another source says The main hang-up is Fox wants some inventory. If they get that figured out, this whole deal's on the 1 yard line, and it gets done.
2024. Yeah, so we're 1 more year away.
So it'll happen.
I think it will too. You can't let this fall apart over Fox wanting money. I mean, too many people want this to happen for Fox just wanting money to be the thing that ends it.
Yep. And as you would imagine, what happened when Fox signed the $1 billion deal with the Big Ten, with USC, UCLA coming in? ESPN lost some rights to USC and UCLA games.
Saying, let's play this game.
And some Big Ten games.
That's right, yeah.
So they're like, well,
okay.
You're wanting Texas and Oklahoma.
Yeah.
We're losing USC, UCLA, and some Big Ten games.
Right.
Why do you want us to give this up and that up?
Yeah, so there's got to be some common ground there, I would imagine. Bobby says, I told my dentist about you guys this week. He had no idea where you guys went. We greatly appreciate that. He says, 3 days later, I went back to get a filling. He said, that tooth's got to come out. So I'm not sure if he enjoyed the new format or if it was just a coincidence. And we do appreciate that. We know a lot of you are passionate about spreading the word. We knew when we left that there were going to be a lot of people that are like, what happened to the round table? Those guys just disappear. They don't have social media or whatever. They couldn't find out. So the more you spread the word, the better. And we greatly appreciate you doing that. Jeff said, I'm glad you guys took that risk. It definitely paid off. I would agree completely. Michael says, Kyrie must be a terrible locker room guy.
Do you think that's pretty obvious?
Well, he's asked to be traded again, right? That's the big ESPN story.
Somebody asked earlier, would you want to see him on your Lakers? And it was a Mavs fan that asked that earlier, and he's like, as a Mavs fan, I'd love to see him paired up with Luka.
I don't think you guys have paid close enough attention. Lance is on a sabbatical from the Lakers right now.
Would it make it better or worse if Kyrie?
Well, look, I just wish we could go back and have Brandon Ingram back and have Julius Randle and never trade those parts away, and it would have been home built instead of going out and getting a bunch of prima donnas. Look, it would be another prima donna. No, I do not want to see him. And I'll tell you this, Dallas needs, losing Brunson was really big for Dallas. I mean, Dallas really should have paid Brunson whatever he wanted because you need that number 2 with Luka right now. The problem with Kyrie going there is Kyrie's going to want to be the alpha. As good as Kyrie is,
he ain't Luka.
I don't think he's Luka right now,
no.
And he would not want to play second fiddle to Luka.
Yeah, I agree completely. Kyrie just seems like he must be an awful locker room guy. I mean, everywhere he's been, it's been an issue, hasn't it? So I don't know. He strikes me as weird, but you can get along with weird people, but apparently you can't get along with him.
I mean, Kobe was strange. I mean, Kobe, went to the beat of his own drum.
He did, but I never doubted that that Kobe was playing his what off to win a championship.
One of the most committed players in any sport of all time.
Yeah.
Nobody can see it over there, but this is part of the BJCC. Many of it's been remodeled, but that part of it looks like it's been here since they built it in the 70s.
I can imagine a Farrah Fawcett looking woman back there.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I was going to say.
With like a one of those terrible outfits on, like serving beer. There's like a hardwired phone on the wall.
And a microwave that looks like it's the original microwave over here on this shelf. But that couch area right there, it looks like, and it's built in wooden paneled walls and couch. Like someone sat in that corner over there and said, really, do you think the actor smoking a cigarette because smoking was legal when they built this? You really think Ronald Reagan, the actor, can become president and coming up in 80?
I can tell by looking at the couch. That couch has been there since this building was built.
Oh, 100%. That's what I'm saying. It's built in.
Do you think a kid was conceived on one of those couches?
At some point, yes.
I can take us on a tour over there. I can go mobile here. You want a tour?
Well, I can keep doing conversations.
Well, here,
over in this corner over here.
I'll do a tour.
Somebody's like, listen, I just got off. I'm listening to the radio. Third period right now. We're up on the Russians. We could beat the Russians in hockey. Can you believe that? It's happening right now at Lake Placid over in that corner. Over in this corner, they're crying over the Challenger explosion.
Oh, Dunaway. Not the Challenger explosion.
Yeah. Do you remember where you were?
I do.
I was
in the lunchroom.
I was in a sorority girl's house watching Days of Our Lives.
Days of Our Lives.
Yeah, they interrupted
programming.
Did she ever
know it was early in the morning.
Did she ever know you were there?
It was early in the morning. God.
Well, Days of Our Lives. That is so random.
It had happened. It happened early, right? Early in the day.
Yeah. For some reason, I was at home. I think we were out of school.
It was
like 8:30, somewhere around there.
Like 10:30, 10:45.
Okay. Yeah. I'd left AM 1500. I'd done my morning radio shift. Was driving back to campus. It happened somewhere in the morning hours, and then I was back at her house, watching all the coverage on television.
I think I can do this. You want me to take a tour of it over there?
Yeah.
Well, you jumped off like you were Superman.
Well,
like
hang on. I got to make sure I can do this. I got to make sure I can do this.
You don't want to go Forrester and just super up that camera.
Super up? What do you mean super up the camera?
Just unhook it off of the tripod. Walk around.
No, I'm gonna do it with my phone. I'll be right back.
Okay. Brownie's gonna walk around now. He's about to pop this up.
Was exciting.
It really is. Thank you, Lunsford. Yeah, Brownie now. He has made the same mistake. There we go. Your phone corrects better than Taylor's did that day. So now you're walking over there. Can you even hear us?
Yeah, I got you.
Okay. This is the couch we were talking about. It is actually built in to the wall here, 1970s decor.
Yeah, no, I will tell you, I like a long couch. The couches at my house, I try to have longer couches. Right. I like low profile, wide seats, but long couches. But that is this one that Taylor is leaned up against is the one Brown is on is one of the longest couches I've ever seen. This is the longest couch I think I've ever seen.
Yeah, Taylor's is
and that's why
20 yards.
They probably hadn't replaced it because they don't want to carry the damn thing out.
20 yards. What do you say?
No, it's 20. Yeah, from here to here.
Right.
But if you add the sides, it's probably a total of 35 yards. Yeah. So I'd say it's 100 feet of sofa.
That was the bar area of the convention center back in the day.
Can you imagine the smoke clouds back in the day down there?
Especially that low roof right there.
Do you think your old man's ever smoked a heater in this building?
No. We never had enough money to get into the BJCC.
Yeah, I thought he'd sneak you guys in.
No. My Uncle Doug probably did. He used to bring me up to watch the Bulls game. Brown behind the scene. God, that was loud.
Sorry.
Did you drop it?
Yep.
The old phone.
When is the last time you guys had a hard line?
Oh, wow. I can't remember. Taylor, did you ever talk to a boy on a hardline phone? Do you even know what a hardline phone is? Never talked to a boy on a hardline phone. You never talked on a hardline phone, probably.
No, I mean, think about it. So Taylor is 22.
Right.
When
did cell phones come? 98?
I mean, 98 was my first cell phone, or 99.
So that's way before she was born.
Yeah. So she probably didn't start talking to guys until she was like 10.
Yeah.
It's a microwave where the glass is smashed out of the microwave.
It's old school.
Hey, does it still work, though?
It's like a museum.
It's not plugged up. You want to plug it up and see?
No. Yeah. Go ahead.
No. I mean, we're going to No, it's going to be like Chernobyl.
No, you know what's so funny?
Radiation.
My buddy Heath decided to use my microwave for his timer, like on cooking, and he put it like on like 30 or 40 minutes or something, and it destroyed my microwave.
30 minutes?
Yeah, it was longer than that, but it damn blew it up.
Who was that, Chief?
No, it was Heath. They sounded like Heath and Chief.
Yeah. So Brown, the tour of the BJCC. Brown, these last few seconds, go on and go down, do the cars.
Okay.
Walk around the cars. Yeah.
I wish I could flip my. I wonder if I can flip my camera. Oh, sorry.
Nope, you can't. No, keep doing the way you're doing it. It's fine.
It's so hard. I can't. It's hard to do it that way.
Well, just turn it away, and I don't want to go POV on you, but point of view, just put it close to your mouth and walk the other way. Turn the camera around. Jeez. There we go. See, that's beautiful. It's a great looking shot.
Yeah. This is a Bel Air.
Oh, Fresh Prince.
Hey, you know what's cool? Look in the back. They got like an old.
Yeah, it's very Don Draper like.
Yeah,
that really
is. It is. You're right. Oh, look at this one. Y'all are gonna love this one.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
is that the
No, here you go. That's the Trans Am. Hang on.
I was gonna say, is that the Kentucky version of a Trans Am?
Okay, Brown, you got to be really careful on the walking now. You got to keep it. If not, I'm gonna get a little motion sick.
I'm sorry, Jimmy. Here's a GTO, the old Judge. My father-in-law used to have one of these.
Wow. There's the jacked up Jeep I was talking about.
The old jacked up Jeep Lance was talking about.
Gotta get motion sick so easy.
God, Dunaway, I'm sorry, man. I'm doing all I can, man. I'm just walking.
Here's an old school race car. Old Willie, 1970 Chevelle right there.
How quick are you thrown out of here if you try to climb in that?
Like if I fired up the engine or something. There's Lizard Racing.
Do you
How you
think?
doing, sir?
Do you think I would get seasick very easy if I was
Yeah,
really out in the ocean?
If this is making you sick, do you want me to go see if I can find out how much that one car was that we were talking about was $1 million?
Yeah, but I'd like for you to grab one person and just ask them the number one thing they came to see.
Yeah.
Okay,
like,
I'll find somebody.
Grab somebody and talk to them for about 6 minutes.
Dunaway, you're going to love this one right here. Look at this. It's the old Davey Allison car.
Hold on.
Yeah, that's actually his car too.
Tell
right?
me when you're still so I can look at it.
All right, you can look at it.
Okay. Oh, I love that. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was Davey won Daytona. Yeah, Daytona with Bobby was second. Or maybe it was the other way around. Bobby won and Davey was second in that car.
So
Yeah.
was Davey even close to the fan favorite that Dale Earnhardt was?
Oh, he was. Yeah,
Okay.
he was. He was Dale Earnhardt Jr. before Dale Earnhardt Jr.
That is still a great looking car, though. That paint scheme and all that, that's a good looking car. All right, Dunaway, I'm going to move. I'm on the move again here. Oh, hey, look. Whoa, y'all are going to love this. Hang on.
Yeah.
How cool is that? Still kit car.
That is very cool. But how our cars talk to us, right?
I can get knives. Hello, guys. It's kind of random. O'Reilly Auto Parts, World of Wheels. They're the sponsor here. Our
Brown's
friends at
getting his exercise in.
I am. Our friends at Talladega Super Speedway. What's up, guys? Hey.
We do love them.
Here we go. I'm going to see if I can find out how much this truck is right here. I don't see a price, Dunaway. This is the one you're going to buy, though.
No. I told you, I moved to the blue Chevy to our left over here.
This is a 1940 Chevy. It does not have the price on it. I'm sorry to tell you. Where's that Corvette? Oh, there's the Corvette over here. Let me see if somebody's got a price on that one.
Yeah, I was a little high on that. I bet it's about $200,000.
Is Jim about to throw up still?
Not even looking anymore, Brown. I'm looking straight down at my computer keys.
Sorry. I hate to do it like this, but this is the only option we have. All right, this is as you said, this is a 1961 Corvette.
Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah, they don't have a window sticker. Sorry. No window sticker. It's owned by Tommy Noel, though.
Oh, Tommy Noel.
Oh, Tommy Noel.
Is he local?
You know what? It doesn't say, Lance. It doesn't say where he's from.
I think Tommy Noel is page 44 of a Southern Gent.
Could be.
Oh, I bet you with that kind of car he is. Let's all right, here's another truck for you, Dunaway. Hey, buddy.
Tell me when you stop.
I'm stopped, sir. Sir?
It's a mannequin. It's a mannequin, Brown.
My bad. All right, that's about all I got down here, guys.
All right, back up to you.
Back up to you in the booth.
Yeah, so a lot
Punch
of
us
fun.
up, Lunsford.
Come join us tonight. I'm going to be out here for a little bit. I don't know if you guys are bolting. I've got my boys are being dropped off.
I am. I
And,
thought you and Little T came together.
We did. She gave me a ride. I left car at the office.
So you're the people who are coming. You're your ride back. I don't have to stay. Little T doesn't have to stay.
Nope.
Good.
But I'm going to need one of you guys to walk Little T to her car.
That's no problem. I'll do that. Absolutely. But we're going to stay around, obviously, and tour around the place and everything. But we'll get Little T to her car. Absolutely. Transformers out here. I saw that guy rolling around. If you've missed it, the big story today, Tommy Rees is now Alabama's offensive coordinator. That, according to many sources, including the folks who said Notre Dame's players were told this afternoon that Tommy Rees would be leaving to come to Alabama. Really interesting show here at the World of Wheels. I've already seen the Barney Fife impersonator walking around.
Oh, he's here?
Rockstar would love that.
Should have found him.
It really was a mannequin, by the way. You knew that.
I
right?
did know that. Yeah, that's part of the joke.
Sir, excuse me, sir. So just a lot of fun. Thompson Square goes at 6 o'clock, 1 hour from now. You should have time to make it down here to the BJCC. You can buy your tickets at the door, get in here and enjoy the whole weekend. Tomorrow is the what?
Tomorrow is Iron Resurrection.
Yeah.
The people from Iron Resurrection, they'll be here tomorrow. And then Jimmy Walker, our buddy Jimmy Walker, friend of the show, will be here Sunday signing autographs, taking photos. He's excited about it.
Yeah, I mean, I enjoyed our interview with him. I wish the audio had been better.
I agree.
But he said some really interesting stuff, including Battle of the Network Stars. He said got so competitive because you can imagine in the 70s, if you're playing for $125,000 each, how much money that was in the 70s.
I never heard him say that.
He said that on the show.
Well, I mean, I heard him say Pat Benatar, and I don't know what that had to do.
Yeah.
Again, I couldn't understand it.
Yeah. Well, I heard a lot of the interview, and it was really fascinating. Battle of the Network Stars, he said he did that several times, but they had to stop doing it because the actors got too competitive because it was $125,000 each to the winner, so they were taking it all so serious.
I mean, that's back in the 70s. You're right. I mean, that probably equates to $1 million.
It was about $1 million.
Yeah, you couldn't have enough money on the line now to get people to pay attention, could you?
Yeah, but back then they weren't making as much money doing their things.
Yeah.
So Jimmy's in town. He raved about our friends at the Stardome too. How much he loved
Hear that all the time.
Bruce Arians and those folks.
Bruce Ayers.
Bruce Ayers.
Yeah,
Bruce Ayers, and he didn't call it the Stardome. He called it the
Superdome.
Oh, the Superdome.
Called it Superdome. I called him Bruce Arians, who was also good in the Superdome.
That's true. All right. Hey, that is going to do it. Give us a thumbs up. Make sure you subscribe, set your alerts, share us on social media. Catch us every single weekday, 9 to 1 on the next round, and come see the World of Wills, worldofwills.net. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you Monday, 9 o'clock on the next round. Have a great weekend.